I want to come and look at the shot, Cameron, just so you know what the frame is.
Yeah, nice. Oh, I like it with this Dueltron part here.
Yeah, I just put that in there. It was accidental at first, but then it seemed good.
And if you want, when we get in there, if we put it on the case, if you want to get a shot with the dashboard, because this will be most of the information that anyone's going to understand.
Once it's going? Okay.
And what I have done before is stuck a piece of blue tape on a tire so you can see it turn around, or if you had like a white grease pencil or
I have a black pencil.
You know what?
I have one of these.
I've got white Gorilla Tape. Why don't I get a couple strips of white Gorilla Tape, stick on a tire, and we'll be able to see when they spin on the video.
Okay.
There.
That's just a habit.
No, it's smart. It's a good habit. You never know who's lurking.
Alright, so the stream is going.
And I can do the whole, I'll do the tape on camera just in case people want to see all the techniques happen.
Okay. I'm really hoping to be able to live stream more easily with the scooter. I might just have to use the phone when I go on the scooter.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know if it'd be the same. I can test it. I can do a test and see if it's improved on the phone versus having that camera.
So the camera itself is like a broadcasting device that I don't even understand how that works. Does that go to your phone?
It goes to the phone. Yeah.
Okay, but your phone itself could live stream without a middleman.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying. It's worth trying.
Yeah. It won't have the 360. But I think they may sell a 360 adapter. I have to look into that for the phone. If they did, that could be neat too. Okay, so let's get started on the battery here. Tools.
Is it on? The video on?
The video's running, yeah.
Okay,
oh yeah, I was gonna check that. I was gonna check to see if it's.
Well, I say we put it on the box and run it. You want to do that?
Sure.
Cool. Then right now, folks at home, I'm putting black tape on the tire so we can see it turn.
White tape.
Yeah. Joseph is here for quality control. And
Look.
Everything.
That's the
Sweet. Okay. White tape going on the back tire as well.
Says live.
Alright, so I say we put it on this little block. If you want to keep the block under while I pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Something like that. How's the camera doing?
Yeah, we
Still
just
on
need
the
to.
same?
Yeah, I just need to reframe for the Dueltron.
Okay. Oh yeah, if you want to see the eye display, do you want to move up?
I mean, what was that? Did you want to mention your channel too?
Oh yeah, my channel is Cammoto, C-A-M space M-O-T-O, and I have some videos on M365 scooter repair and building an all-wheel drive M365, and a few other videos, buying scooters that are broken, fixing them, stuff like that.
This should be good right here. How's that look?
What about this? Are you going to be able to see this?
I'll just lift it for that.
Cool. Alright. As for the rest, that'll be good. So here we go. This battery may be charged. I'm pressing power. There we go. We've got blinking, which means it's going to die. So this is what it does, but we also have the 60 volt power source, which is 66.4. So I'm going to plug that into... You want to do that outlet over there for me?
Yeah.
I believe you do the outlet on the scooter. I don't know. People have told me different.
You believe what?
I believe you plug it into the outlet and then the scooter.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
your opinion?
Yeah, that's not good.
Okay, cool. Because I don't know if people are trolling when they convince me to do it another way or what. I'm gonna actually get a little flashlight so I don't cross-plug this thing and...
Okay, let me get started on taking the battery cover off.
Yeah.
Does this have a low speed or you just leave it on high?
It's just your finger variable. There are two different ones, so see which bit you have first. One fits that and one fits this, because these are two different voltages. Okay, here we are. Here's the detail, and there we go. We're charging. That's on red. And so whenever you do want, we could look at that. We could look at the display again and see if it'll run.
Sure.
Okay, so it's plugged in. We've got power. We're in mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. This is timer. This is, what's 76.2 mean? 876 is mileage. 42 is charge or something? What's 66.2 voltage?
Could be. We'll find out when we get to the battery.
Yeah, it's a 60 volt. So
okay.
If I hit throttle, oh, there we go. We're on.
So it works
to start.
Does it work?
Yeah, both wheels are running.
Does it work when the charger's not plugged in, or is it only because the charger's plugged in?
It's just because it's plugged in.
Okay, let's figure out what's going on.
Cool.
Let's see if we can figure it out. I like how these tools you have on there.
Yeah, I've had that thing on drills for like 25 years. I love that thing.
Did you want to take these out, or you want me to take them out?
Oh no, go for it. It's got the custom bolt here, custom black tape.
Custom bolt?
Custom in that there's no bolt, just tape.
Oh, okay.
Oh
yeah, that's that. That's that place. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that's why it was not.
Well, at least no durable in it.
Exactly. That's why I got it for the price I got it. So I already have this tape here to keep the gasket on, so I can put that on and have the screws line up. I'm gonna replace the screws on. What I did in the past is I put numbers to coordinate where stuff was. Like this is number 1 phone, and there's a number 1 under there. So.
Okay, I'm gonna bring the camera down to the area we're going to. Actually, you know what? The battery's coming out, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll also have to get into this side with, I don't remember which Allen wrench, it's like a 2 or 3 millimeter, but yeah, we can pull this off, and let me be finding that Allen wrench size.
Okay, you're in charge of tools.
Cool.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me, I'm gonna get my, unless you have do you have a metric Allen wrench set sitting around? Or I can get mine.
Yeah, you can get yours.
Yeah.
I have some, but
Mine's a good set, actually.
Yours is a good set?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just sliding the scooter to one side so that we have more room.
Sounds good. I brought in one of these. This is always fun to keep bolts in.
Oh, I have another seat here. Oops. Okay. set that to the side if you would. Alright. So have you had the battery out already?
I pulled it up.
But didn't unplug everything?
I did not unplug anything. So basically it's just got some foam pieces.
And you said the numbers were...
Yeah, the numbers I put under there just so we could put everything in the same spot again.
Oh, I see, okay.
And then we've got this gasket that's got to kind of come up.
It's a nice gasket.
Yeah, you know, it's very Wolf Warrior-like. We've got these things that need to pop out back here, which are the, what is this, the phase wires and the drum brake line, correct? Because this side has a drum brake, so this drum brake line is phase wires. Okay. It will come up if you just kind of grab it on that side. Also, the case is split, so you'll see it kind of...
What did the person that sold the scooter to you tell you about it?
He said that sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't.
And then it stopped altogether? Is that what happened?
He said that it would die at 20 or 30%, which to me says I can set the P settings at a battery cutoff at a certain spot. That anyway, that wasn't a problem to me, but he said that his mechanic replaced the main switch, which I believe is on this side or that side. That maybe the problem with the battery was the main switch, but it didn't solve the problem. That meant it was BMS. And so from there I contacted Mini Motors.
That's what his mechanic said?
His mechanic said it would be the BMS. Mini Motors said to try the, what is the thing called, I think this somehow gets over, on the side of it first.
Thanks.
Yeah, like that.
Thank you.
So, Mini Motors said try the, what is the thing called, an inverter or a transformer? The thing that takes this power and changes it to the lighting voltage.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like a step-down transformer, I guess.
I think transformer.
Like
I could look up an email and tell you what the name is, but they had me unplug this little thing that like had maybe this orange and black and see if it changed anything, and it did not. So they said, no, that means it's the BMS.
Oh, Mini Motors said that?
Yeah, through email we...
Oh, cool. That was nice of them to help you. That's nice.
I think it's really cool if you can actually ask someone and they'll give you technical information. Like
that's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to. Well, we're gonna have this video, but I want you to also see what I'm unplugging, so that we can both try to remember.
Do you want me to get the blue tape and we'll just write numbers? So we just got 1, 1, 2, 2.
I'm also thinking we can move this way so we can both get to it easier. Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many things can go into the wrong holes. I don't know that, so I wonder.
Can you help me out, Cameron?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I've got the white tape back there. What do you think about Sharpie, white tape, and just either end of stuff we put a number?
Yeah, you want to do that?
Or something?
Yeah, we can do that. With the stuff that's not obvious.
Okay.
Or only with things that are alike, where the plugs could get mixed up.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to mark everything if it's.
If there's something totally obvious, like a one type of plug, we would probably skip it. I'm gonna get a good Sharpie from the toolbox.
I have one that has black ink in it.
Yeah, cool. Black Sharpie is good.
Okay, let me give it to you.
I guess we'll just be like A and A, B and B.
Okay, so on these wires here, these 3 wires. 1, 2, 3. Do you know what these are? I'm gonna unplug these right now.
Offhand.
Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. These red. Yeah, we need to mark these.
Because okay, here's A and A.
And watch what I'm doing. Wait a second. Does this even unplug? Hang on. Hold this.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, sorry. Oh, someone heat shrink these.
Okay, yeah, I've seen videos where they've got to slice off that.
Okay.
But before we get there, I don't know. I thought that somehow it just plugged into the switch over here. So let me pop this cover off.
Okay.
I'll stick these, like, maybe here is a good place. Darn it. Okay, I'm trying to get the right Allen wrench for this, and it's a deep hole there, so I'm not getting a lot of, like, feed. Okay, that's obviously huge.
Well, I'm thinking of what is a good way to cut this off. I'm just going to use my cutters. Oops.
Okay, I got the right size. It may be we don't have to cut that once I pull this out. I'm not totally convinced we have to cut that. It may just unplug from this switch.
Okay.
These I didn't put very tight because I knew they would come off again. This is a lot like the 010X style where...
Can I set this here?
Yeah, absolutely. Where the cover, where all the wires go out, the left front side. Okay, should we unplug the charger at this
Yeah.
point? Okay. Now...
Hang on.
Yeah.
It'd be neat if we didn't have to pull the battery out. We probably should pull the battery out though, actually.
I
Yeah,
think
go
we
ahead,
need
go ahead.
to look
Yeah.
all around it to
Yeah.
make this happen. So this is the main switch under here. It's like a rocker switch.
Mm-hmm.
And
You had
oh,
this,
there's another.
have you had this off before?
Yeah, I've had this off. I just never unplugged those wires from there. So that is a first. Okay, now we've got the bolts out. So this is, see the rocker switch? I'm pretty sure if, well, I'm not really sure about anything. I just figured there's a good chance we've got a,
Can I see?
yeah. Probably just pull stuff right off the back of that switch is what I'm guessing.
I feel like we're safer doing it here.
That's cool. Yeah.
'Cause look,
sure.
It's... Yeah, I don't want to mess with that switch. But you look at it and tell me what you think.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
got
wanna...
some goop on it, so if you think these can come apart, let's do this. Let's call these A and whatever.
Okay, you want to cut the tape off?
Yeah. Now this here has some lettering on it. It says positive, obviously.
Does the other side of it have that too?
Discharge.
Okay.
It says on it.
Does
The
this side
other
have anything?
It doesn't.
Okay.
So I'll just put A and A on this. Alright, and you figure...
I'm gonna start
after
opening
that.
it down.
Okay, over there.
This has the same casing of my screw here, screw. What's the watt hours of this battery, do you know?
It's like 1100 or something around there.
Okay. That's great.
I believe they say it's like an 18.2 amp hour.
Okay, coming close to your head.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
You were saying?
Yeah, 18.2 amp hour is what I believe the specs are supposed to be.
Look at that.
Can you tell what these say? There's sync. S-I-N-C?
Here's our BMS.
Yeah.
I can't see it right now at the moment. Here's the BMS. This is what we think it is. Cameron feels strongly about, and I appreciate all the research he did to this method. Oh, can I try something?
Yep.
so we want to open up this.
Yeah, on that nut might be the way.
I just kind of like. It's a way of kind of grabbing the outer. Gently grabbing that.
So I was looking at the BMS and it said it was a 16S,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure how many P it is. I still haven't really done the count of the number of batteries there. Do you know if there's sort of like a typical parallel count of these sort of things, or it's just whatever fits?
I don't know, actually. I haven't put a BMS in before. And I don't know a lot about how they... Is the one that you got, is it considered the replacement for this? I mean, is it supposed to be?
It's not the exact same brand. The exact same brand was not searchable on the internet whatsoever. So I just got one that's got the same specs, and I asked a couple of scooter groups, and they're like, yeah, you can get a daily one, DALY, which was Amazon for like shipped for like $30.
Okay.
I had some people say, oh, you've got to get Bluetooth BMS. You know, I don't know. I didn't want to spend $100 on a BMS that, who knows, maybe it's bigger, it doesn't fit, or I can't access it, or whatever.
And do you know what the... on this battery, do we know what the series in parallel is on it?
It's 16S, but I don't know the P at this point.
Okay, I think as long as you have one of the numbers.
Yeah, then that's
Because that's what gives you the voltage, right? The 16S is 16 series.
Yeah,
That's
times some number.
4.2 when it's fully charged.
Yeah.
Which would give you, what's the number?
16, it's, well, nominal is 60 volts on this one.
Okay, so this is our tape here.
Yeah, that's the A.
Okay.
But leave it on though, because we're...
I'm going to put it over this so it doesn't... Because that's exposed.
Okay. Oh, smart. Yeah.
Might as well put it there. Okay, so let's do the others. That's A. Hopefully we can still read that in a while. I mean, we could also leave it back here and just put a new piece here too, because it didn't totally reach all the way around.
Yeah, let's make sure it's all insulated good, and I'll just give you a bigger
Let's do that.
piece for that, and I'll read.
Here, let's put a new A on it.
Yeah. We got the Milwaukee Sharpie.
Yeah, it's... I think it says you can leave the cap off for like a really long time and it still works,
Nice.
if I recall correctly. That's a good A.
I love this tape. This is Gorilla tape, and I believe it used the same formula as racer tape from years back. People would fix their fenders on their autocross cars with that were smashed, and just like 100-mile-an-hour tape.
They call it 100-mile-an-hour tape?
Yeah, because you could drive 100 miles an hour and it wouldn't fall off your car.
It reminds me of duct tape. That stuff's so sticky.
Yeah, this is like the
It's
modern
too sticky.
equivalent of duct tape. What's the second wire you want to do on here? All of these come off, so this one?
Yeah, I guess we could unplug this one since we're labeled now.
Yeah.
That's
Just
a good
make
idea.
Sure there's tape in the correct place.
Oh, gosh.
More tape. Is tape going to cause an issue with... Or no. This is the side that's hot now.
Yeah.
So as long as this isn't doing anything weird, we're safe.
Yeah, I think so.
Should I put a little tape over that?
Yeah, put some tape over it. That's a good idea. And do we know what these wires are? So the reds are probably positive and there's the blue negative. Do we know?
I am not aware, but can you read that little tag? I have a real hard time reading stuff that small.
It says discharge. This is discharge negative. Yeah,
Discharge
negative. Yep.
Okay. Then next we're doing what? Putting a B on this guy?
Yeah, let me unhook it first.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I see what you're saying about this. I'm just how are we going to label? Say we pull these off, right? How are we
We'd
going
have
to
to make
label
a diagram, but it's. I like your idea better.
Okay.
Figures. And I know I have heat shrink tubing in the car,
Okay.
so we can put this together the exact same way, which is way better than just wrapping a bunch of this tape on it.
Yeah. Okay,
Did you ever have a motorcycle from the 70s that just had black tape flapping around on the wiring?
good. Oh, that's what they used to do back then, right?
I heard they call it candy striping, where you wrap tape around the wires.
And then it comes off eventually and it's sticky and it grows.
Yeah. I mean, it works good when it's new, but I never really had that many, or any new vehicles.
So, energy. You were saying about energy.
Energy, isn't that the thing that we are made out of? And basically everything is made out of?
Pure energy, right? Everything's energy.
I think that, well, you were saying before that there is no real mass, there's just energy. And so, to me, the definition of mass, although it's I'm going to sound unscientific here, it's a very sciencey definition of what mass is, but in general, I think of like a brick as something that weighs something. Example of mass is a brick. And a brick is something you cannot stab a pin through. So it's like, this is a thing with mass. You can't shove stuff through it. Let me give you this to cover it with.
Okay. But
no.
it's like 99.9% empty space.
Yeah, it's so much empty space that my definition.
Oh, I don't have to tape this in.
Oh yeah, that one's safe, but this one I'll just label.
Okay.
So my layman's definition of mass and stuff, basically, what's the other side of the B? Okay.
What do you think about energy?
That's awesome. The type of energy we use makes a big difference. The type of energy we're all going to use in the next 10 to 15 years is going to be totally different than the type of energy we used in the past 10 to 15 years, in that everything we drive around, or a lot of what we drive around, is going to be powered by batteries like this. So the amount of gasoline in our lives, the amount of like exhaust from cars is going to be a lot less. So we're going to be surrounded by conveniences that are unimaginable, like your car being a giant power station.
Someone asked me what's the difference between it's a good question, actually. Someone asked me what's the difference between free energy and energy, and I was like, well, I don't know if there is a difference. In my mind, I thought, like, what is the difference? There's not, like, because everything, where does the energy come from that powers the electron,
Isn't that just like the natural rules of our world? Now, let's see, that the other one plugs inside of this, right? So if we put tape on the outside, it's not going to clog any sort of...
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not going to interfere.
You should put a big piece on that, make sure... Oh, okay, that's a good way to do it. That's going to be really hard to get off when you do it that way.
Okay, I'll get a longer one next time.
I just mean when you stick it to itself, it likes to really stick, which can be good.
You're right. The racer tape is judicious. Energy has excited me since I was a kid, because it's like the magic thing that we all use every day. You can't really see energy. You can think about it. You can study it.
You can see what it does, right?
You can definitely see its effects. You can see how you use it and manipulate it. And then once you can control it, you're like the best magician. My dad took like an electronics class when I was a kid, so he showed me just simple stuff like, this is a circuit, this is a switch, and a light bulb and a motor, and you can hear the battery and hear wires, and you can connect these and see what they do. So since I was little, I always loved this stuff. I just never got highly educated in any of it. So So I actually, with the future of energy, I see it as being really useful and really valid right now for me to increase my knowledge on all this stuff, because I see nothing but like problems like this, which to me isn't a problem. To me, this is like exciting. I have a broken thing that, you know, we could make work. So, to me, the future is so exciting. Like, I'll get to give with electronic stuff.
This wire got
forever.
The insulation. I did that by accident.
Oh, no problem. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So let me get a nice hefty piece of tape for that one.
So this is our negative. So I'm going to tell you something that when I read things like this, it's like, it's very helpful to understand. I don't know. It's like, how do we talk about the things we're thinking about, right? Or how do we talk about the things we feel? That's the big one, right?
You've
like,
got to use symbolic language.
So what happens is, I was reading, well, it's an audio book, but I'm going to say reading. Listening. It said there's a process of understanding everything we see, right? Which is just, I'm going to say everything's made up of atoms, right?
Yeah.
All those atoms are made up of charges, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the book was saying was that there's something called the process of, I'm calling it a process, but renormalization.
Okay.
Which means we take the energy that it takes to sustain atoms, subatomic particles, electrons, protons, neutrons, basically mass, right? What we call mass. And we say, we don't look at that. Renormalization, if I'm understanding it correctly, it means we're not going to look at that because it doesn't change.
Okay. So we're going to ignore all that energy.
We're ignoring all the energy in the universe that sustains everything we see and everything we are, because it doesn't change. That's what it was saying, and it's called renormalization.
So this is the here's everything, ignore this, here's your world. It's like one is taught. Like, there is no sky there. We live on the ground. That's not there. We're here.
I love how you just said that. It helps me understand what I just said, which I'm trying to understand myself. But so when people say there's no such thing as free energy, what they're kind of, it's what I'm hearing them say is there's no such thing as energy, which we know is not true, because all there is energy.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we?
This must have been B. So I'm seeing B here and nothing on this.
Where's B? Show me.
B and B, correct? Red and red. I had done this before, which was C in your last.
So it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, it has to. And this is C. So okay, B. Can you imagine we didn't put tape on these? Like.
Yeah. Am I distracting you with energy?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
I work well under distraction. What's our next thing?
What's next? How do we get this one? Now this one looks like it may have to be unplugged.
Is blue controller?
It's red and black. It goes. What's holding all this in? I'm gonna pull this out.
Charge
over there.
port.
Let's see. What's red and black? These. Here it is.
Cool. All right.
This
so
feels like you're okay.
We can make this D.
We don't have to label these because they're. It's just black. See, black was the black, red was the red. Okay. Did you see that?
Yeah. You'll remember that for sure, and that'll be the only stuff empty. Fair enough. Yeah.
So renormalization means, I'm paraphrasing, but it means basically that we're not going to look. Here's the thing about that. If we're not looking at the energy it takes to sustain everything that we walk on and are and see, right? Because why aren't we falling through the ground? It's 99.9% empty space, right?
Yeah.
That's what.
And we have gravity that wants to suck us. that direction,
Well, gravity,
doesn't it?
what I was learning about gravity was that gravity is like a byproduct of the flow of energy. So there's a flow of energy going into the Earth,
Okay.
and what we call gravity is just, it's like the wind. Like, imagine a truck passes you really fast, and it pulls you. When it passes you, it pulls you with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, imagine that
okay.
truck is energy now. It's just energy flow moving down the highway, and you feel that effect. That's what I've been learning about gravity. That's a way of understanding it. That it's a byproduct of the flow of energy.
And it's only so strong. What about this? Is gravity stronger towards the center of the Earth than... It must be stronger closer to the center of the Earth than in our stratosphere. And I just labeled this D because I figure this is our last thing.
That's our third?
Slice that dude, and then our battery may be...
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not double checking your work, so I'm just going with what you... Do you want me to double check what you're doing?
No, we're doing good. Why don't I'm going to take like a photo and a video. I just want to like go through and say this is red and this is blue or whatever, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we've got B and B. We've got D. And D. What else?
Can I do this while you're doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. This was a B. This one is A. And over here, there's another one. A. And then we had two charge port wires, a red and a black long one that are dangled over here. So Joseph's just taking off the heat shrink wrap from the last wire, which I believe that was a negative in blue there. And
Can you move these wires?
Yeah.
There's a capacitor on the other side of that possibly, so it could throw a spark if they touch it.
Okay.
Maybe we should tape those off.
I can do that now.
Okay.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
Yeah. But when you tape them, to make it easier to take the tape off, just wrap it like this. Because when you wrap it to where the glue touches itself, it does not want to let go. And it doesn't need to be that tight, unless it was a permanent thing.
I think I'll wrap. I'm going to put this original black stuff over it, and then it'll be even easier
To take off? Okay.
release. Something that I remember I used to do is I put tab in the tape, and I'm just remembering it now. You do the next guy a favor.
So, yeah, to answer your question, or to tell you my thoughts on that, I don't know about the gravity strength, but it makes sense that it could be stronger in the center. It does make sense. I mean, one question, if you want to talk about the center of the Earth and you want to talk about, gravity, well, I don't know if this is gravity talk, but it's interesting how I don't know, it's been a while since I read about this, but when you read about the center of the Earth is supposed to be super hot, right?
Yeah, from all the compaction of everything, it's like jiggling the protons and neutrons around and smashing them against each other, creating friction, and then it being hot, making molten stuff.
So if there's this pressure of the planet pushing inward, right? Is that a way of saying it?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of energy also, that pressure, right? It takes a lot of energy to get something that hot where it can melt, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of energy everywhere.
We're surrounded by it. I guess it's just a matter of getting to it. I mean, what if you just had something as simple as a solar panel in the middle of one type of energy? It doesn't receive all types of energy, but
Yeah, I was reading about how people have made solar panels that capture different wavelengths, right? Different wavelengths.
So like there could be a nighttime solar panel or something?
Well, there's a company, I can't remember the name at the moment. I don't know if it's Elta devices or Delta devices. It might be Elta devices. It's one of those. But they made a solar panel called Any-Light solar panels, which means literally artificial light charges the cells. And if you read up on it, they were told that's impossible. You can't do that, and just it's the same story. Like when someone makes something new, it's like they seem to run into that where it's like rather than saying I can only operate within the laws of human physics, human understanding of physics. The question is, how does the universe work? That's to me, that's the first question, right?
I wish I had better education. My friends I had a couple friends who I would like work on bicycles, work on motorcycles and things with. And they both met at Bosco Tech. It was like a technical high school, I guess it was. And one of them, not quite as...
Can you tape these?
Yeah. One of them was not quite as great with academics and whatnot, but my other friend, he got so much out of engineering, physics, and math that he was my go-to guy. This guy Eric, who could do anything.
And this is taped. This is labeled already, right?
Yeah, these are both labeled D, I believe.
So I think we can take this away from the scooter now. Oops.
Good job, Joseph.
And we'll bring the camera over. Oops.
Oh, so what I was going to say is, I have a couple friends who they really have benefited from this technical knowledge that I know I didn't get. I just didn't get it. I wish I had it. I need to go back and get some more. I really do.
But you could always also just read books on the subjects that interest you too.
Yeah.
But
I do a lot more like YouTube research, which probably is maybe to my detriment a little bit. Not as high quality or organized.
well, there's many ways to learn.
Yeah. Wow, this is exciting. This thing is out.
All right, so let's see what we have. So it does make me wonder when someone says there's no such thing as free energy. It makes me wonder, do they realize that that's what powers the universe, basically, is energy that's not coming from us. We're not, right? Like it's coming from everywhere.
So is it just a definitional thing where they're just saying, no, there's normalization?
Renormalization?
Renormalization. You're
saying,
you're saying there's free energy. They're saying, no, there's renormalization. Is this like the two sides?
So it sounds like you're saying, I'm thinking about this, so it sounds like you're saying that what they could be saying is there's only just enough energy to power the universe.
Yeah. We're fighting to get energy. You're saying there's only energy.
That's all there is.
They're saying no, we can barely get any.
That's
really
what it sounds like a scarcity thing, right?
Yeah. But scarcity makes the whole sort of capitalism argument like, therefore I'll have to sell it to you for a lot of money, and I'll have to guard my secrets of how to get it and all this. Do you think at some point, I know in this project, we could test each one of the 16 leads with your multimeter and see if they all seem to have a similar output? Does that seem like part of the process to you?
Test the leads? These?
Test the, I believe you can poke the meter into here. I'm not sure with that view, I can't tell right now, but
okay.
I believe you figure out the negative, and then if each, what do you call it? Pack? It's not pack.
Oh gosh, I need to get in there. There's so much tape I almost can't get to the plug. Okay, that's okay. We'll modify this for a moment.
Okay.
Slight modification.
Let me get these instructions out, and also, just in case these are worse, I have the other BMS that was the wrong number of amps, and it may have bigger, more readable instructions.
Okay.
It's in the car. I haven't sent it back yet. So
Goes from the same company?
yeah, it's the same. It just happened to be a 20 amp that I didn't notice when I bought it. But
Is that mine? That's your phone.
that's mine. It was going. Yeah, I'm not gonna pick it up right now.
Let's redo this one.
There ought to be a negative within.
Cameron, can we redo this one?
Oh, yeah.
Can you get that off? Got that one.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this one. I might need you to do this one as well. Oh, good way to do it. Yeah.
So I believe I believe one of those 16 or 17 wires is a negative. So you can just go from that one to the other ones, and then.
And test all the positives of the cells. Okay.
Yeah, and then if one of them shows it's like at half a volt and all the other ones are at 4, then we're like, we need to look over there and see what's going on. And I'm never using Gorilla Tape for this again. This is like the best tape ever. I need to use the worst tape ever.
And this needs to be covered right there.
Okay. Is this open to the point you need it?
Yeah, but now I need to also.
Or I can just get it all.
It needs to also be covered to some degree, just not as much. I need to be able to get I need to be able to test the voltage in there. Okay, so now I want to tell something. I want to share something with you that's very interesting about accessing energy.
Yes.
If I just say it that way, right? Because here, first of all, the atoms. When I've tried to read about, or when I've read about the way electrons and protons and neutrons get their energy, it's coming from somewhere else. It can sound like they're powering each other, or the universe powers them, or there's energy flowing in to them from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, to me, that's like a definition of free energy, because the atom is powered. It's a little power station, right?
But it itself is always running. It's like an ever-running clock or something. The protons and electrons are always like orbiting the nucleus. Is my understanding.
Which is part of the atom.
Is this usable where you need it now, or do you want me to clear all this tape off?
No, that's good.
Okay. All right.
The trick is that I'm looking for is that this see how you see metal there on the outside?
Yeah.
I want this to overlap like 1 or 2 millimeters,
Okay.
so that if it touches down, it's not going to arc on something.
Okay.
This one right now, this one needs to be covered.
That one needs to be- Okay.
Because if these things touch, it can blow out
Yeah, that could
many
be a
things. It can cause a lot of problems.
big deal. So like there.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. So let's look in here now. Let's see what this your BMS. Let's check out the BMS.
You know, it's what's your schedule?
So, just in concept, I'm looking at the atoms. We just look at the atom, right?
Yeah.
The atom is powered, or the electron. Everything's getting its energy from somewhere. So here's something very interesting. If you spin, like if you look at the N machine, right? Bruce De Palma. The N machine, all this guy did, Bruce De Palma,
Mm-hmm.
is he spun a magnet really fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you spin a magnet in space, it doesn't have to be near copper wire. Just spin a magnet. You can get a voltage and an amperage from the outer edge of the magnet and the center of whatever you're spinning that with.
So you touch a wire to the direct contact to the center of the magnet, then you touch a wire to the
Yeah.
outside of the magnet?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Bruce De Palma N machine. So if you look at that, what in a way we could say, what does that say about just space or the energy everywhere? If energy can flow through something
Mm-hmm.
by just spinning it in space. right? Because the way that we make generators right now is we have a magnet close to copper wire,
Mm-hmm.
which is another thing to talk about. Because
Is that is induction a word that comes up in the type of power that is? What is it when the
yeah, I think it's
roll
induction.
of wire sucks those electrons? Maybe it's induction.
Yeah, I think that's what we call it. But I'm, without trying to find all the perfect words, I'm just saying the basic idea,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that we know that if we, but the thing about that is it's hard to spin. It's hard to spin when you put a load on something. It becomes hard to spin it.
Okay.
It can become, at least. I mean, that's just one way of understanding it, right?
I understand like there's centrifugal force where you spin a thing and it resists turning, like how a bicycle or motorcycle stands up. There's that. But yeah, I think it's to do with like inertia, where it just takes a lot of energy to make a physical change or something.
That's an interesting. Just thinking about what you're saying. Okay, so we have a lot of little cells here.
I've never seen it to this point, so this is fascinating.
If there's a way to, maybe we don't need to change. Well, you know what we could do? We could just cut this, and then it'll release from the case.
You want to like slice that open?
I was gonna slice this right here.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because this can just be taped together again.
Yeah.
In the end.
I've also got a decent scissor in the car if you want to bring the scissor in.
Okay. Thanks. So, the idea of the end machine that I understand that makes it really nice is that when you like, let's say you're trying to light a light bulb,
Mm-hmm.
a really big one. Let's say it's like a 5,000 watt light bulb, right? When you plug that light bulb into like an alternator or generator, that right now that you can an alternator or generator that we understand now that we use, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's in popular use. When you put they call it putting a load on it, which is powering something like a light bulb or something else, right?
Sure.
That takes electricity. It becomes very hard to turn it, right? It becomes hard to turn it.
Yeah.
So with the end machine, by just spinning the magnet, okay, please set that down just like that, in the same orientation. Okay. When you spin a magnet in space, energy is flowing into it, right? Energy is flowing into your load, but it doesn't get harder to turn. Do you see the difference?
Okay, yeah. If you're spinning a generator or an alternator or whatever, it has resistance.
A lot of resistance when you put a load on it.
It takes horsepower to overcome that.
Exactly.
What you're saying is once you're just spinning a magnet, it's not being slowed down by the electromagnetic sort of. Keep smashing my foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Now I understand what you're saying.
It's not being slowed down by the load. This is
Yeah.
a simple way of saying it. Right? Because another thing is, what's the simplest way we can understand something and also say it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just go on the internet and look up, like, how is the atom powered, right? If you look that up, like, some people describe it as circular definitions, where you just keep going in a circle.
Yeah.
And you can't actually get, like, a clear thought of what's happening.
I've found circular reasoning in all kinds of, like, education.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily help with a simple, clear understanding of what we're talking about, right?
It's never going to be clear if you're using circular reasoning, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's my understanding that we could determine if one of the parallel, I'm going to call it packs or circuits or parallel thingies, if we go from this black wire here And I could look up on this chart, but I believe that terminal plus that, and then that terminal plus that, and plus all these different ones, we're gonna get like 4.2, 4.2, 4.2. And if we get one that's wrong, we'll know, trace that back, something wrong in that.
So that could mean there's something wrong with the battery?
Yeah, if there's something wrong. But the battery's been showing a high amount of voltage, so I suspect it's all gonna show up correctly, and there's just a malfunction in this guy.
Okay.
But I don't have any reason to really be confident in what I'm saying.
So this is our new BMS,
Yeah.
battery management system. And this is, one of these are positive and one's are negative. And then there's 2 wires here. Is this going to plug into this directly?
I don't know if it will, but
I
it has
see.
its own, and does it look similar?
It does, it looks similar. I'm going to unplug this. Attempt to, at least. I'm not sure if this is what allows this to release. Let me use a small screwdriver.
Yeah.
There's a couple of these. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Can you please hand me the magnifying glasses up there?
This whole
Yeah.
thing? Cool.
The only thing it's missing is the top part to keep this from sliding down,
Okay.
which my headlamp has. But
You wanna
this
grab that
needs it.
too? Or
Um,
you just use-
yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay. Hey, yeah, whatever works. So this whole thing here?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you were saying that you wanted to make a generator that would power your LEDs on your scooter.
Yeah,
I feel like we should be able to do that pretty easily.
where would you connect to do it, I guess is my question. Near the motor? Near one of the motors? Like, are you gonna like attach a wire to the center of the motor and just attach a wire to the outside, sort of touching it, and then that will...
Well, because you're talking about the end machine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, those end machines, as far as I know, require a very high RPM, like
Okay.
fast spinning. So I don't know if your wheel would spin fast enough for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could definitely try it, but I don't know if it would spin fast enough.
So I don't know about you, but there's all this writing. It's all technical. It all means something really big and important.
Is it in English?
It is in English. Do you want me to read some of it?
No,
Okay.
not at the moment.
Cool.
I mean, you can read it
It's
to
scary.
yourself.
Honestly, it's scary, and my brain almost switches to a I can't read mode when I'm using my fingers mode. If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
It just gets.
but
like,
you can read it and see if it. I mean, it's up to you. If you want to read it, I'm not saying for you not to read it. I'm just saying
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to focus on this plug.
Sure. Oh, that looks like it's working. Sweet.
Because pulling on the wires can damage the
Yeah, I
wires.
could yank them out of the poles.
And this was glued in there, so we can use a glue gun to.
Oh yeah, to keep it on next time.
Yeah, next time.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just curious. Now we don't know. Let's see. How do you feel about me seeing if this plugs in? How do you feel about that?
Why don't, before we plug it in, why don't we test these so that I don't want this to think there's something weird and say, oh no, I'm gonna act like a BMS and not work. I'd rather test the voltages and then do it. Does that seem logical?
Looks like you did really well with your research because this does look absolutely identical. Oh, I see a difference. I see a difference.
Oh really? A difference that would
I
not
see
plug?
the black on the opposite side.
Will this go like that?
Let's see.
Oh, I see what you're talking. Okay.
But if
You can
that's-
de-pin
if
it or
that's
whatever?
The only difference. Like, I'm wondering. Let's see. Yep, we could do that. I mean, there is a glue there. There is a glue there, but we could try to.
Which
we could re-glue
means,
it.
so with this one,
Well, wouldn't that be nice?
at some point we'd have to look up and see, because this one's gonna probably want...
Another reason to not plug it in.
Yeah.
If these touched,
Oh, okay. Okay, good idea. But yeah, this one's gonna want the black on one side, which probably means that side if we do use that plug. Does that make sense?
oh, can you run that by me again? I was just looking at the mistake I just made in what I said.
Sure.
Because we're not trying to plug that in, we're trying to plug this into the new one.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So if this comes with that one, then this BMS is saying minus here. So if we decide to use this plug, we're probably going to repin that black one into here.
Yeah.
For it to line up on there where it's supposed to.
Yeah, and then I
If
don't
that
know
makes
if it
sense.
matters if these other ones have to be in a certain order. It shouldn't, right? Because they're all.
I think they do, but
Let me see. Let me test.
yeah,
Let me
my
test
research
your
says
voltage.
that they do.
They do what?
They do need to be
In a certain order?
The first one is like the first one. It would only be 4 volts. Then the second one's going to read 8. Then the third one's going to read 12.
Oh, so it's
and so on.
progressive? It
Yeah.
progressively goes up and up and up? Okay.
That's my understanding.
Let's peek at it.
Yeah. Which, it could mean that it involves another whole couple layers of
Can you read that to me?
Read.
The
Oh, yeah,
voltage? Ready?
Yeah. 6.8 point something, 1 point something, 6.9.
Hang on. Okay. Anything?
48, 53, OL,
Is that
4.
milli- is
Okay,
it
now we're at
millivolts?
3.9.
Is it millivolts?
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
It says auto, DC, and it says, is that a V?
Yeah.
So now you're at, does minus mean anything? It's at 3.98.
What is that, 3.98? Okay.
Yeah.
Still?
3.97.
Okay, how about now?
7.98.
Now?
12.04.
Is this in the screen, the shot, too?
Let me see. Let me move the camera a wee bit so it.
Move the
I'll move
focus.
this. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
move this. Okay, we're at 11.97, which to me this is going up 4 at a time, so we're good.
I'll start over.
Okay, so yeah, 4.
Oh, wait, let me put the negative where it was, because I have this.
Oh yeah, then it'll probably be positive again.
Is what I'm doing in the picture?
Yeah. Although if I got the camera angle from over here, I'd see it. It's just blocked by the hand. Yeah, like that's better. Okay, 4.0, 3.9, 8.0, 7.98, so that's correct. 12.0, 11.9, 16.0, 20.1, 24.28.5, 32.7.
Just read me the big numbers.
Okay, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 61. That's bouncing around. This one's at like 260 something.
MVs before the number. Millivolts?
I thought we were doing volts before, but this one's bouncing all over the place.
See, oh no, bottom right. MV.
Okay.
Millivolts. It's not even a volt. Okay, let me go back to this side.
61.
See how it says V now?
Yeah, oh, okay, now I'm seeing it, yeah.
So one says V, and then do you see how it
MV,
says MV?
okay, yeah.
Millivolts is like, that's
Smaller.
You're right, we're not getting anything basically.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's supposed to be that way or if you have a bad cell. Let's see where that cell would be. Where would that cell be? Let's see if we can find it.
So the one that's millivolts is one of the packs. Like it's as though it's not showing what it's supposed to.
Yeah, I think that we should check that cell.
Okay.
Okay.
And we can certainly cut that tape. Do you want me to get my scissors?
Not yet. Let me see. This is it. Oh, look.
Dude, did you find a break?
Yeah, right there.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
That's the break. Let's show it. There's the break. This is the millivolts reading we were getting. This is our open heart surgery of the Dueltron scooter. And this is why Cameron bought me lunch.
Dude, I'm gonna buy you lunch as many times as you want. Seriously? This is gonna take this scooter. This is a $2,000 scooter new. It's discontinued. They came out with the model with the front brake, but I got it for $700. And if we make this battery work, I believe it is a $1,500 scooter. After I replace those tires, I believe it's a $1,500 scooter.
Wow.
That's so exciting, man.
I could see you opening a scooter shop.
You can see us opening a scooter shop. I really need to get more education on this. I really need to get more with it.
Well, the subject of energy, going back to that, and as it relates to transportation, I'm like, when I want to go somewhere in the scooter, I want to be able to go there. You know, so that's why I put a lot of batteries on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a big part of the reason that I want to figure out how I can add some kind of range extender to it, in addition to the batteries, just another way of adding range.
Here's a question. Do we not need this new BMS if that wire is connected?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering that too.
Wow.
Let's see what it does.
Wow, this could be a $0 repair. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Okay, so I want to test. Alright, so I think what I need to do is we need to be able to separate these so I can test the voltage of these cells. It looks like, I think what's happening is this spacer here appears to me, this is what I think, is just separating the two packs. That's what it looks like. So if we get all this tape off,
And then just
and then just let it kind of come separate, and then we can take it
this way. It'd probably fold that way since this is sort of in place. But if all the let me see. Look at the side wires. See these black ones over here.
That's going to prevent it from separating.
We could separate it a little bit.
Yeah, we could set this side, I think, and we may have to.
Does it have wires going up and down on that side too?
Well, it doesn't, but.
Oh, I see what it's got.
But this is kind of. We may have to do. Take this.
Yeah, we could cut that apart.
Yeah, and separate it.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's get started on that, and then let's go.
All right. So do you want me to trim this down? Is that?
Let's do that last.
Okay.
Let's start with tape. So let's go ahead and get this tape off.
I have a very tight little scissor, if that helps.
Everything's so nice. I'm like real hesitant to.
Yeah, I hear you.
But we have to get in there. You getting video?
I'm just taking a photo or two, just like this is where we are, where we want to be again.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Documenting all this is good. Okay. So all there is energy. That's all there is.
Before we do that, let me ask you this. If we just repaired that broken wire, would we be able to know if that's the only repair that it needs? Like, before we break it apart...
Do you want to start with that?
I mean, if that could possibly fix it, and then everything works...
Well, here's my thoughts. We can do that. And also, if it's out of balance, it'll start balancing it.
Okay.
By just having that connected.
And all we would have to...
Hand me that board, please, Cameron. The wooden board? Yeah. Thank you.
Let me think. So to charge it again, this would have to be plugged into the charging port, and the charging port plugged into this charger, and then that would do its balancing thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the way we should do it. Okay, so...
Well, and I guess it's humanly possible that one or some of those cells in that parallel section could be dead all the way, right?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check, but if you want to start, by this repair, if you want to begin there, I'm totally comfortable with that.
Cool. Yeah, I think.
And it was a thought I had.
I think it's worth trying, because then just in case something weird happens and we get this all taken apart, I always picture like, what if we can't get it back? What if it's an irreparable or extremely difficult to figure out how to get back situation?
Okay, so I think we can. Let me cut this. See what I'm kind of putting you in charge of the camera to make sure that it always has everything.
Cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely. Good idea.
Just have that in the shot, because I'm focused on this right now.
Yeah.
And right now I'm just cutting the heat shrink off. And you're pretty good at framing and everything. I've seen your videos.
Yeah, I try. I sure cut out a lot of stuff that's no
Your
good.
videos are very educational.
I hope they're useful because I see
I
a lot of
think they are.
YouTubers who they're just like, look at me, I'm riding, and you know, it's cool. You've got like the newest model scooter. I do want to see how fast it is and if the suspension's legally and all that, but I guess I just want to give people value by giving them something technical that they can remember or hold on to, or
Oh,
data basically.
I thought of something that I want to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are thinking about how can the world, like how can they, sometimes it's hard to think of how to say something, you know? I need a piece of wire.
Yeah, I've got a whole case full of wires. You want skinny wire like that gauge?
Just any wire.
Okay, I'll grab it.
So I was thinking about something that's an interesting, it was an interesting kind of thought, and because I feel like people are discovering, I don't know if this is the right word to use, because you know how there's a proper word for things,
Sure.
but at least it'll give us an idea, okay? It'll give us an idea.
Do you want some of this extension cord?
Cameron, I have some wire over there in the corner we can use. Down, the left,
This stuff?
the red one.
The red one? Cool.
I don't mind using this because I know it's.
Yeah.
I don't know about the extension cord. There's a guy that uses extension cord kind of cables. He's Don Smith. Very advanced understanding of how the universe works. But I'm still using regular wire. So tell me how this sounds to you, because I'm kind of experimenting with how to say this. The idea is, you know how people are making discoveries every single day, and when you read history, when you study history, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the biggest, really huge discoveries were accidental. Like that wasn't the intention. Okay? There were accidental discoveries. I think that what I'm going to refer to as like anti-gravity, and I'm just talking about like if someone wanted to make a hoverboard, right? Like in Back to the Future, like that. I think people are discovering that. I think that's being discovered every day by people all over the world, and including different ways to access energy. And my son. And that always slips out. Now, if you don't mind, I like using this solder, but if you have a solder you prefer.
No, I wasn't sure.
What kind of
I don't
solder
remember
is that?
buying solder in a long time, so this is a,
Can you see what it is?
I don't know, 1.0 millimeter flux core. I just didn't remember what to order. I haven't bought solder in like 20 years.
Okay, is it okay if I use the solder that I'm familiar with?
Absolutely. Yeah. I just wanted to have this just in case I was going to...
Oh, it says 60-40-10. Okay.
Do you know what yours is?
This is 60-40 rosin core solder.
Okay. But
It's
yours
just-
is way thicker, so...
Yeah, it's thicker, yeah.
Okay.
But it's really
Want me to move this out of the way?
It's really easy to do. I can move it.
How?
Oh, that's good, thanks. So,
I'm gonna pop my video on too right here, but keep going.
So I think that if people all over the world, and it only has to be a low percentage, it doesn't have to be everyone, Cameron,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be everyone, okay? But if like, let's say 10% of the people that are making discoveries about simple circuits and simple ways of accessing, if I say it that way, accessing anti-gravity. And if there's a word that you like better than anti-gravity, tell me what it is. There's many ways to describe something that pushes against gravity. Or
Like
pushes...
maglev, magnetic levitation, but I guess that refers to a specific technology, so yeah, anti-gravity is good.
But just some way of pushing against it, right? So when there's gravity, it goes, we can call it gravity drive, I don't know, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if people shared, because you know how people are very secretive about their discoveries?
Yeah, because we're in a system that like rewards you doing it for yourself and making it only yours, and you.
Cameron, would you please roll that tool thing to me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
there's also-
the not sharing nature of our economic system kind of makes it that way.
But everyone has the right and the freedom, right? They have the right and the freedom to share, right? Is that right?
Gosh, if you worked for 3M and you shared, you'd probably.
No, I don't mean working for a company.
Okay, work on your
I'm
own.
talking
Yeah.
about someone doing their own research. Yeah, because you can't violate contracts, right?
Yep.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, that actually what you said is a good point, because sometimes people are doing their own research, but if they're on contract with a company, I think the company could own any research they do on their own too, right?
Not only could they do. So there are a lot of people, there are people who invented things that profited video game companies and Apple and Microsoft like tens of millions, 100 million, more than $100 million, for instance. Or somebody whose sole invention was like a really cool video game when they worked for Atari or Nintendo or something. That guy can tell his friends, hey dude, I invented the coolest game, while he drives his, 1994 VW Passat because he doesn't have $100 million. So there is, say you work for a company, a big company like 3M or NASA or whatever, that has access to the best tools, the highest tech, cutting edge stuff. You are precluded from sharing at that point, the way I see it.
Okay, so, but most people don't work for, that's some people. Some people work for, they're on contract with people, right? If I say it that way, they work for companies.
Yeah.
But most of the public, I think most of the people that are experimenting don't work for, they're not under contract, right?
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, most people. And there's like millions of people experimenting and learning every day, trying new things. And because we haven't discovered everything about the way the universe works and the way that everything works, someone that doesn't even know maybe very much at all about science or physics could make an incredible discovery by just trying different things.
I agree.
And that does happen, and I think that happens a lot. So that's just an interesting idea that I wanted to mention.
I feel like being primates, we're curious and we're dexterous. We do stuff with our hands. We try stuff a lot of different ways. And if you do believe that there are certain boxes that you have to fit in, and you do believe stuff like, oh, there's renormalization, this sky isn't here, for I live on the ground. You could really cut yourself off from being that inventor.
Cameron, can I get your opinion on this?
Yeah.
While we're having this conversation?
Uh-huh.
Have a look up here closely and use the magnifying glass. Excuse me. Over there.
This guy.
If you need it. If you need that. Okay, I want your opinion. This is your battery.
Okay.
Now I'm connecting this to this, right?
Yep, yep. If you just leave it out like that, you solder it on there, and then it's not heating up the battery terminal as much.
Well, I'm just thinking of how I can do this.
Do you want me to...
Because I can do it like this.
If I hold pressure on it, where it is right there, and you just zap it where you first had it, not on the other side of it, but on this side of it.
Because this looks actually like it could be...
Or no, that's good. Just like that, yeah.
As long as it stays on there, right?
Looks good to me. Do you need me to hold it there though, so that
Yeah.
it doesn't move? Okay. Should I use that little pick or?
Yeah, you can use this.
Okay, so let me see if I can locate that from the other side. Like, say I do this.
Yeah, and try to get the very tip end, so I can get the soldering iron in there. And I have more of those that may not be as.
What about like that? If I held it there, is that a good start, or do you want me to hold it like back here? Oh, I see. Yeah.
So that I can get in there.
Okay.
So
So I hold it just like that.
Yeah. You got it?
Yep.
And go to the tip like this.
Cool.
Sorry. The edge.
Sorry.
If you can.
It popped off again. Am I there now?
Yeah.
Cool.
You got it?
Yep. I think so.
Okay, let go.
And we could verify if something worked.
All right, let's go
Testing those ends, right? Now, do you believe in globbing more solder on after, or do you think that's just what it takes?
Oh no, it's on. I got a lot on there.
It's on? Okay. Awesome.
Let me see.
Let me take just
No,
like
that's a good amount. Get a shot of that close up. There's a lot on there.
Sweet. Okay. So then we test these, and then we know if it says the same millivolt thing?
Yeah, so just read me the big numbers, okay?
Okay.
So I'm not going to that first. I want to see what
Yeah.
says first.
Okay.
Right.
We are 61, 65.
That's a 4-volt increase. It looks like it did.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow. So if we plug that in and plug the charging port in,
We can see what it does.
oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Well, let's see, because the problem you're having, what was the issue that it was having? What was it doing?
It would power on, it would show a bunch of volts, but then once you did anything, the power would just turn off.
Alright.
So it could be that whatever that is changed the BMS to be broken, but that wire being broken seems pretty darn broken. Seems like a major flaw.
Yeah, maybe the BMS shuts power down when it's reading an error like that as a protective thing.
I believe that's its job, so
It says, oh, something's wrong. Because otherwise, if it didn't, that could get overcharged and cause what is it called? A thermal runaway. Like it
Sure.
could get super duper hot.
do we want to set this on the case again, kind of how it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was kind of like this. I'm going to scoot this stuff out of the way so we're not sitting on any tools. Okay.
I have to also be careful how close things get to the soldering iron because it's very hot.
Good idea. There's so many safety rules and they all matter.
Okay, Cameron, can you help me with
Yeah, why don't I pull this?
just a little to the side? It's plugged in, so. And you
Okay.
can actually.
Yeah, I'll aim it
reframe
over here.
Okay. And just go slow with the plug. Oh, the plug's tangled in the leg here. Go.
Oh,
up.
yeah.
There you go.
Cool. It's a pretty decent shot right here. I don't know if you want to zoom. Do you have an opinion about zooming? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's degrades the quality?
I don't know that this allows zoom. Oh, it does. I didn't know that I could zoom with that. You knew that?
I live streamed once and it didn't work. So.
Well, I'm glad you said it. Thank you.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll see how it looks, and
Cool.
if it's really bad, then I won't do it in the future.
Okay.
But just the way it looks here, it seems like it's okay.
It's frame rate.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what we have. First, I want to throw some things away. All this, we have a lot of
Sure.
mess here. So I think when people say that there's no free energy, I'm not going to get in a conversation with them because they don't seem to be open to having a conversation. They seem to just want me to convert over to their belief. And
My professor said there's no sky, basically. So I believe it's like I'm a no sky fan club, right?
Oh, okay. That's a good way to understand it. Yes, Cameron, you got it. Let's go ahead and see what this does now. Shall we?
Yeah. I will scoot my body here without knocking anything over, and I think we just connect that charging port.
Yeah,
So these two.
Let me connect all this first.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Charging port.
Well, if we only did this, then we would at least we'd plug it in and just see what's. I don't know. I don't know what we would find out, but we just might find out that everything worked awesome.
Okay, that's a red. Let me see how this plug felt. This felt. I feel okay. I want to plug everything in properly.
Yeah, sure.
But help me with lining up the correct. Can you have me?
Yes.
Tell me what I.
Why don't you want to just start with pick one? Which one are you on?
C.
C. Okay.
And confirm that that's C too.
This is C.
And this is C?
This is C.
Okay.
C, and I will.
Wait, why is this blue and black?
It's what it was.
Okay. You're sure? Oh yeah, of course. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Is what it was, and that's why it's right. That's sort of like circular logic, but you have to go with it sometimes. Oh, I should get my heat shrink tubing out at this point, correct?
No, we're just going to
You just want to test it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Then.
Because we might still have a lot of work.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pick up, or let's pick D. Is that D? Yeah. And confirm that that's D.
This is D.
Okay.
On this side. This is D. Yeah, I can see. For me, it's definitely a learning experience with the taping. I just haven't looked around stuff like this.
That's good.
D and D.
Okay, let's go with B.
This is B. This is B. Holy shit.
Pass and charge.
Okay.
Dang, that always gets me every single time.
Woo! Should I tape this? I feel like I should.
Yeah.
I have this used tape on my shoe, which is hella strong, and I'll just, even though that's probably a sin.
We'll put something over that too.
Okay, I think the tape, can you reach behind me for the tape?
It's a good place for it. We got it. Hang out the door.
It really works. Okay, show me the spot you were telling me.
If you need me to ask you for things in a different way, just tell me, okay? I'm not trying to be bossy or anything.
Oh, no. Everything's important, so it's all cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not trying to be rude to you.
No.
But just tell me if you want me to say please first or something like that. Okay. Where's the A?
I see some metal here. I thought I saw metal on the cover.
Is this it? This
No,
is it.
here. I'm gonna put a little piece of tape on this guy.
Just make sure you wrap it though and don't stick the glue to itself. Well, we can't. It's really hard to get off. You know? Because this is kind of temporary right now. Right?
Okay, now this one is what letter?
It's
We're on
A.
A, and we're on A.
So it seems like there's a lot of ways to basically replicate nature. Yeah, that's scary when you first are getting into this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I just blew it up, you know. But it's the capacitors and the controllers charging up. They charge instantly.
Wow.
So it's like massive energy
It's
all
like,
at once.
yeah,
Boom.
that is what a capacitor does.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay, let's.
Is that
Where
everything
shall
plugged
we-
in? We have an A, we have a B, we have a D, we have a C, and a charging port. And so this is fully wired, and therefore we can plug this in.
But before we do that, let's
Okay.
turn this on and just see what this looks like up here. Give me 1 second to turn my headlamp off. Okay, go ahead.
Alright.
Let's just see what this looks like.
Okay, power.
Hang on. Let me make brightness adjust. Okay.
It's showing 65.7, which is really good for a 60 volt because, you know, that's already 5 volts above 60 volt. It's not flashing, it's not doing anything weird. If I hold mode, lights will probably come on. Do you want to try it?
No, well, I just want to. Right now, at the moment. Okay, tell me something. So,
Okay.
just refresh my memory. Before we did this always turn on? Or only when the thing was plugged in, or sometimes?
Sometimes it turned on and I could revive it by plugging it into the wall for a bit.
Okay.
Sometimes I
And
come
when
back to it and it would, and earlier it did, but it turned off, let's say within 10 seconds by flashing.
Okay, and then how about giving it some little bit of throttle?
Yeah, let me double check we're safe here, all the wires and everything looks good. So this is safe. Nothing's weird, the battery's in a good place. Okay, I'm gonna touch the throttle.
Just barely, just a
Yeah.
little. I just want to see the wheels move.
Okay.
Hang on. Hold it at a very low speed. The lowest you can. Can you go ahead and give it more throttle?
And that clicking is probably the tape.
The tape,
that
it's
I
the tape.
added to it.
I see it. What was the reason for the tape again? To see the wheels turn?
Just to watch it on video that they're turning. Just makes
Oh,
a
okay.
better video in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and stop.
Oh, it must have been cruise control.
Okay, let's try plugging it in.
Yeah.
And it's okay to plug it in when it's on, right?
I have, so I'm saying yeah.
Yeah.
So the charger, can you see it? It's on green currently because it's plugged in.
No, I didn't get it in the camera because I'm zoomed in.
Can you hold
No,
up?
bring it closer to this back. Over here, because we're zoomed in right now, so I gotta go.
Okay. So there.
Okay, so let's go ahead and plug it in.
Okay. Plugged
Okay,
in.
good.
Turn to red.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. The battery is there.
And can
Oh,
you
and then this says 65.8 volts.
okay, what did it used to say?
Thought it might have said 65.7, but I could be incorrect.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so all positive so far. Okay, could you set the charger down?
Yeah.
You're a good assistant, Cameron.
Thank you.
Okay, so energy. We're gonna let this charge until that light turns green. That's what I'd like to do.
Sure.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
Or at least until this adds anything more than a tenth of a volt or two, you know?
Because it never went above that?
I don't know what it tops out at, but we definitely don't want it to have less volts on it, and if it gets more, oh look, it's already at 66.0. Yeah, it's getting happy.
So energy. Can you explain to me what you said about there is no sky? Can you tell me more about that story?
Yeah,
What is the idea of that? Tell me more about it.
I think because we were talking about the renormalization.
Where we're ignoring all the energy that powers everything, basically.
Yeah, we're gonna ignore everything
Because it doesn't change.
because someone says it doesn't change.
Because someone says it doesn't increase or decrease.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna. It's like if your car always ran and you didn't have to put fuel in it. We could say
It
well,
doesn't have energy.
it doesn't have any energy,
Not putting it in.
even though it does because it's running. We're not gonna look at that because it doesn't change. And
So
that's
basically
that's
an
renormalization. It sounds like.
So in an understanding of the world, if one's trying to figure out what they have to work with, like what is my tool set or what are my supplies? Okay, I'm in the garage. I want to build stuff. I've got wrenches. I've got Allen wrenches, some batteries, and some motors. And the people are ignoring the fact. Let's say I didn't buy a tool today. Does that mean I don't have any tools? I use these tools.
That's a very good way to put it.
Because I've had the same tools for 30, 40 years. And,
Okay.
it doesn't mean that something didn't, I don't know.
No, say it. Say it in the most, like you're teaching
Yeah.
children, right?
Yeah.
Like you're teaching children
Okay.
this idea.
If I were to simplify my life, simplify my equation, which I think this may come down to, it's easier to simplify an equation by not having a lot of superfluous stuff.
Okay.
So if you just consider all of reality superfluous stuff, and you isolate only the stuff you're doing here, then you're going to develop a pattern where you'll always ignore everything except for the one condition you're doing. For instance,
And superfluous means
superfluous is stuff you don't need, stuff that's fluff and going to distract you.
okay.
So it's just like saying, hey, there is no sky because I live on the ground. And so long as my data doesn't involve sky, if I'm adding 2 plus 2 equals 4, that works great. If I'm adding 2 plus 2 and the sky is blue, that's irrelevant to my equals 4. We can just ignore that all the time. What if you're a doctor and you give someone a medication, you're like, hey, we're giving him Effexor to stimulate his dopamine receptors or something. If they just say, well, that's all we look at, what it does right here in the synapse, the dopamine's reuptake, it slows it down, it's supposed to make him happier. What if you ignore what it does to your gut and it gives you IBS? You're ignoring everything it does and you're just focusing on one little thing. So,
Okay.
the reality is I don't think about the free energy stuff as much as you do. I know it's definitely your thing, but I mean,
Well, I don't think
since I'm not even educated in it, I don't know what to ignore. So like when you tell me stuff, I don't think that's wrong, Joseph, because my professor was right. Because I never even had this class.
Oh, I see.
I'm just sort of a jack of all trades, expert of none, and if something makes something work, if something makes sense, I don't have a reason to just tell you my professor says that can't be true.
And for some reason, I really appreciate that you bring that new way of seeing it, like a brand new way of seeing it, so that when I talk to you about what I'm understanding, I could hear what you think as it relates to the world you walk through and see, without the necessarily technical words of this is what you can do, this is what you can't do, this is why.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how nice would it be if some of the people that said there's no such thing as, I don't even want to call it free energy, I want to say they're saying there's no such thing as energy. That's what they're really saying.
There's only such thing as energy in my tiny condition for which I am measuring it. That's kind of dumb.
Right.
I only see what's in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I mean, that's what it's
That's what you're actually saying. I mean, to
That's
me,
what
that's
they're
where
saying.
we're getting. Like, what if someone said to you, Joseph, there was not a car accident behind me, for I am looking forward.
And I would say,
like,
but there was, I saw it. Right?
But your eyes are not my eyes. I mean, this is like a Monty Python sketch. It's absurd. It's actually absurd the way when you bring it up, because I'm not indoctrinated by any field of interest, So it makes me free in a way, I'm cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to, for a long time, I was an assistant to a nuclear physicist. We would go out and determine what radioactive materials are scattered about industrial sites and whatnot, and use gamma spectrometers and do science. So I'm not opposed or unfamiliar at all with doing science already. It's great. I love it. It's great. Do conditions, learn what you're looking for. But we have to calibrate the gamma spectrometer if we're looking for cesium or whatever. You have to look at a certain field of energy. You're not seeing all the other energies.
Yes.
Because you're
looking for
focusing.
something.
Yeah, spot focusing.
Just as, and I'm going to say it this way, but you can exclude yourself if you want to, just tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Just as we're both interested in the extending the range of our scooters. You want to run LED lights, but I don't think you would be against a range extender either. If there was-
That's next. I need it. How long? For sure. Yeah.
So in that perspective, if I say it that way, and please add, say it in a way that communicates better if we have a way to. But I'll just say, seeing it from the perspective of, this is what we're looking at. Similarly, as you said, this is where we're looking, because you're looking for something specific.
Mm-hmm.
We're specifically looking for, how can we power those LED lights? How can we extend the range of the scooter? So we're going to look at the energy that powers everything.
It may be connecting wires to my head and my toe with the lights. Because as you said, what's the difference between the mass of this metal and the mass of my skin?
Right.
My skin's probably better as being a battery.
I like that.
It seems like it would be.
No,
it's like salty juice. This is just a solid thing.
Yeah.
I'm probably the battery to power the LED lights.
And it's the reason that I think that there's so many accidental and intentional, both, discoveries every day, everywhere in the world. And to help bring the world into that place of less pollution, cleaner energy, and a greater understanding of how the theory works of that. I think if people shared more of their accidental and intentional discoveries, it doesn't mean that they're giving away their idea necessarily. I think, in fact, it strengthens the bridge to bringing those technologies into industry, into the world, because when people understand the theory of how something works, they don't need to know the exact design. What happens when that person brings their product out? Let's say they patent it and bring it out. People are going to change it a little bit, and they're going to come out with it anyway.
Yep.
So another way of doing it is teach people the theory, maybe in YouTube videos and sharing, the theory of how something works. People can start making their own devices, which in a way will guarantee that their device will ultimately come out, because there'll be competition, right? People will be competing. Well, once the theory is understood, I think then people would on a larger scale start replicating that.
If it's shared, you or I could make the greatest invention here today. If we don't share it, it could change. It could be something that potentially could change the world. But if we do not share it, it could die with us, and no one ever knows. So even if you make the best thing, in my opinion, being a
Well, it doesn't have to be the best thing. It doesn't have to be the best.
Well, it could be a thing that's really useful for
Okay.
help man and be better than what we have now.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
We really owe it to ourselves to be the social, entrepreneurial, business-minded type of people who, once we have that idea, we do something with it. Because I know for me, I have my little sort of small business stuff, buy and sell a thing, buy a broken thing, fix a thing. But if I were to invent something that's better than the energy systems that exist today, I would really owe it to myself, to everyone else, to put it out there and make people know about it. So, and, like the minor way that I've done it, the most small ways are my YouTube videos. Like, I'll do things to this model scooter, to the M365, that no one's done. Like, I'll put a foot brake on
and you
it.
share it. You share it.
Oh, yeah, I share it, and 5,000 people watch my video. It's not that many. It's more than nobody, and it's less than a popular YouTuber who's a popular social person. But for me, you'll get data and you'll see how something actually works. So, like on this kind of scooter, I've added safety features, foot brake. I've added two-wheel drive. I've done things, and I put it in a video so people can see it, and at least they can benefit a bit. As for being profitable and going next level with that, I thought it's kind of a cheap scooter. The M365 is cheap, and I don't know that there would be any great profit, or I hadn't thought of anything to actually move on and make profit out of this. But another one that I did was the Ninebot Max G30 LP battery swap. The G30 LP comes with a 10,000 milliamp battery, and the Ninebot Max G30P comes with the 15,000 milliamp battery. So I had the two new scooters side by side, and I took them both apart on video. Did really good video, a lot of cuts. Showed the app opening each one. Each one had like 20 miles on it because I got them both new. And I swapped the batteries right on camera. And so, 3,500 people in the past couple of months have watched that, and I get a lot of comments like, "Hey, thank you, awesome, this is great." Now I can go.
Isn't that a good feeling when people appreciate it?
It is, and it's kind of absurd too because even though like I would like to be the most appreciated guy in the world in a way, like I never am going to be for that because I just realized no matter how many videos I do, a couple of like thumbs up or comments, that's what I get.
Yeah.
But I have to think, what else would I be doing with my time? Selfishly watching TV, just riding my scooter. So I don't know. I'm fine with the little bit of thumbs up that comes back, and I'll keep on doing it. I'll just keep on like making videos of how I fix stuff. And we're at 66.3 on this, so this is already up 0.5 of a volt.
That's good.
Any heat? You didn't notice anything?
No, this is telling me it's charging. This is getting warm. I'm glad this is.
And let me ask you this. What mistakes could we make now? What would we not want to touch?
Well, we don't want anything to short out. So we don't want like wires that shouldn't be touching the touch,
Okay.
But I don't see a great risk of that at the moment, being that this is isolating the battery from the metal.
Okay.
Everything's covered up. We don't want to move a lot of stuff right now while it's plugged in and charging. So moving this would be bad. We want to unplug everything before we move it. That would be my comfort.
Yeah.
Not even moving this much. Like just not moving things too much. That's my thoughts.
Sounds good. So it appears that, to me, this is working great since the battery's increasing the voltage. The next step after would be to unplug all the wires again, leaving the A's and B's and stuff on. Get the battery up on the table, tape everything together with the Kapton tape, and then get the heat shrink tubing, and then, you know what, you could probably be taping this up, and I could be stripping all this ugly tape off of these, or, I don't know, maybe it's one at a time with the heat
Well, let
shrink.
me ask you a question. One of the issues that the scooter was having before, tell me if this is correct, is that you couldn't really ride it, right? It would work sometimes and not other times, or it wasn't working at all?
It never let me ride it, but it did bench ride when I got it home after I first bought it. So it's as though that little metal, well, for whatever reason, it would run and get up to like 30 or 40 miles an hour on the speedo,
On
just
the
on a
bench?
stand,
With no load on it?
with no load. And then when I took it outside, as soon as I tried to drive it, it just flashed it and died.
Okay, so based on what you just told me, what I would like to do is make sure this stuff is nothing's exposed here. Same thing with this. Make sure close this up a little bit, set it back in, and try to write it before we go through the process of making it all perfect and putting it away. We don't even know if we can write it yet.
Yeah, okay.
With a
'cause
load.
since- I agree. So just shove the battery in.
Yeah.
Just close this like that.
Yes. And make sure
Stick it in,
this is closed.
stick it in.
Yeah.
Close that up. Stick the top on with enough bolts and take a ride. Yeah, I agree. That's good. Because
To make sure it works with the load.
Yeah, I think in the edges of this, it's still going to be safe enough to. The corners are still going to become corners here. So yeah, I think it's safe enough to do that. Do you want to wait longer or just do it since it's short?
Yeah, we can do it.
I think we could just do it. Yeah. So I will unplug this here. Give me that to set over there.
I'll hand it
Order,
to you in a
yeah,
second.
cool.
Yeah. It's funny how you said there is no sky. That was really good. That was really funny.
I love analogies.
That was so good.
I don't ever think of them. They just pop out. Sometimes I do a good one. So let's see. We sort of make this in the configuration it wants to be.
Yeah, let me look at it. For a minute.
Yeah. I forget which is
So that's the one we did there.
Oh, this is the top configuration. So it is in the correct orientation.
Yeah.
It just plops in. And we have to make sure these wires are tucked. So, yeah. Do you want to tape any of this or just drop it right in?
I think we can just set it in there.
Okay.
We're not going to take it off road.
Yeah. Then this brake line, I think, was the biggest difficulty. So maybe you tuck the front end and tuck it under this brake line, and then the brake line will come back over the battery.
Let me just see what's happening with this car. There it is.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, before we do it though, can we cover this a little more? Or I can do it. Just hand me the tape if you would.
Sure.
And I need cutters, some scissors. I have some over here. They should be over there.
Yeah, my little pocket knife will get clogged in 1 sec on that.
Because I'm just going to cover these big red-handed ones.
This?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, the other one's a zip tie tightener.
Okay.
Which comes in very handy. You see my battery, how I do my battery.
Yeah. I had a roll of zip ties before, and it came with little ends. It was just a long zip tie with no end. And it was some gimmicky thing I bought at like the 99-cent store or something that was supposed to be $10, but they were selling it cheap because no one bought them. Nobody wanted a made-to-order zip tie ratcheting handle thing.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting information. Alright, did you cover that one part that was so covered earlier?
Yeah, I did. Let me just peek through stuff. Let me just look how wires are. Okay.
And what's the wire that was unplugged before over here? For the wire? Did you say there was a wire unplugged?
There was one that I unplugged and plugged back in. This is probably like the learning wire, but
So it's plugged back in now. Everything's as it was.
everything is. It was. I'd have to look in my email to see what it was.
I just want to know if it's in now.
Yeah, everything would be in again. And just to double check, these are all. Yeah, I'm sure I covered that broken insulation, so I think it's ready to shove down that way.
Okay.
I think probably angle it with the butt up, or oh yeah, that works. That works.
I think so. These bolts, if you ever wanted to trim these a little bit, you could do that. Because see, they're actually.
Not the most awesome design. This is what I think. If it's, oh yeah, maybe that way. Maybe that way.
There it is. Oh, this fits in there snugly.
And then this goes with this.
So what I would like to do is not even put the top on.
Yeah.
Because as far, we don't know if it's going to even move under loader.
Okay.
I just want to see it move first.
Okay.
They like it heavy duty fixed there. I need something that's strong. With all the batteries.
Look, this doesn't go through, so
Yeah,
yeah,
just
we're
tape it
gonna.
on it or something. You don't have to
I could
screw
put.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I can run it through this scooter.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be better.
I like this material. This is really stretchy. It seems really good. I like it.
I would hope that Dueltron would use high grade
Yeah,
stuff.
that's high. That feels high grade.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see that this stuff wants to be here, so there's a pinch.
That makes sense.
That's what we need that. This is just temporary right now. Right. That'll get. Let's see what the reaction is. When I put wires along, I get closer.
No, I hear you. At some point, you get to realize there's like a better way to work.
Yeah, just a Okay.
Okay, so now I can get one of these screws in, and then that side will pick up on this. I think this sort of.
Yeah, that's really good. So, energy.
Energy. How much of your time would you say you think about energy?
That's a good question.
I'm guessing a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Which is cool. Which is good. It's I think it's really useful to have something that your brain
But I also
always wants to think about.
think about that I live in a world too. It's not just thinking about energy, right? You have to think about how to communicate that the interest, right?
Sure.
To other people that are interested, I guess. It's sharing it really. It's a sharing group, right? It's sharing the excitement about the interest in it, right? It's like you do. It's no, you share your excitement about what you're doing.
I do. My physical stuff, even though I like just the act of fixing the thing, part of it is that it's either my thing I'm gonna enjoy and I'll be like, look what I did. Or it's someone else, one of my loved ones' items that I'm gonna say, look what I did for you. So yeah, definitely special.
Okay, so right now, if you just stood on it and made it move a little, would that be more than it's done in the past?
Yeah. Yeah. We just carry it outside and do it in the driver?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like.
Well, I'm gonna take this tape off.
Oh, is it on right now? It's off.
It may have cycled itself off. I don't know if it turns off after 5 minutes or what.
And how do you turn it on again?
Hold power for a couple seconds. This guy.
Okay.
And it's on mode 3, so I'm gonna. Okay, I'm switching it to mode 1 just so it's in like a more reasonable mode. So I'll pop it down and out the door.
Yeah, be careful of your back.
Yeah.
Ready?
Oh, and that I'll have to make sure to make the folding mechanism.
Should I follow you with the screen a little bit, or how should we do that?
Yeah, if you want to bring that thing out, and then we can just see if it works.
Okay, hang on.
Right here. I'm just going to get this thing tight. It's got only one clamp on it, compared to like that Turbo Wheel Lightning. You got a couple clamps. This is just one. They were dual 800, but does 800 mean nominal?
That's a lot of pack.
Riding a go-kart.
So it's working now.
It's working, man, and that's on mode 1, and it's faster than. Thank you, Joseph.
You're welcome.
Shout out to Joseph, who's the battery repairman. On mode 1, this is like.
That was my first time
quick.
doing. I told you that's why I wanted to help you with it, because I wanted to learn about it.
Man, that's.
Because
It's definitely a wiggly scooter. I don't know if you want to try it or try it after it's together, but.
Sure.
It definitely has some sort of flex in the handlebar zone. But yeah, I could not imagine putting it on mode 3. It was just like jerky.
What number was it on?
It's on mode 1.
Wow.
And I don't think No, I have gone through the power settings. I probably have the power settings all at the top, which I typically would do. It reminded me a lot of riding the original GoPed 2-stroke things that had a solid tire.
Mm-hmm.
The tire's kind of just like you can just sense it. You can just, it's like chewing gum in your mouth. You just like know it has that weird tire.
The solid tires?
Yeah, they just don't feel quite like anything else.
But it has nice suspension, it looks like. How did it feel?
It didn't feel very suspension-y.
Okay.
But it's possible these are adjustable or something. I'm just jazzed that it does something, from here it's check out how awesome it works, but man, that's great.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, man, thank you. So here I have a lot of heat shrink. So we're gonna need this one. Do you have a heat gun?
I do.
Alright. This is all good.
I usually just use a lighter though.
Yeah.
I use the heating gun to remove magnets from the M365 motor.
I just used like a hammer and a screwdriver, and it was such a mess. It was like
Yeah, they slid right out.
Mess.
They slid right out like nothing. The heat does it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, do we want to put it back on this?
Yeah.
Alright. I'll give you that. I love how light this thing is. Like, I think it's 50.
lighter
really
than
is.
50 actually.
It's really quite amazing. I like. So I remove this again.
Yeah.
What is that one?
This thing's so fast.
It's 60 volts. This tiny wheel 60 volt thing. Like, who would imagine they would, like, this tiny tire, they would make it fast.
Yeah. I like how you put a seat on it too. Or I mean, I think you put a seat on it.
I gotta tell you all about my seat thing. I've got this Schwinn 650 that came with the seat. It's
Yeah.
like a cheap lead acid type of scooter, and
Mhm.
I cut the whole top of the seat off of it. So I have this whole seat rail thing, which after we're done, if you want, I'll show you a picture.
Okay.
So we take this guy out again. So we just unplug all these guys. We protect them again with tape. With tape is behind you again. So we just have to make sure everything's tape safe.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to move this over so make it happy. Have some tape here to make stuff safe. And this guy I want to give a little cover to. Or, yeah, at this point, these guys still do need cover until we get to the end.
Yeah, because they have a capacitor charging it.
And then I'm going to take all the tape off, like, one at a time, and each drink one at a time, right?
Yeah.
Or we just leave it like this, huh? For the next guy? I'm a jerks. Cover you.
So the labels are all still on those?
The labels. BA, yes. Good quality control.
So I'm also learning that a spark gap apparently magnifies and amplifies energy.
Oh.
Like a spark plug, really. Literally is an amplifier and magnifier of energy. So that combined with something that you mentioned earlier that we were talking about when we started, the transformer,
Yeah.
which can bump voltage up or down, like step up or step down transformer.
Yeah.
When you combine the spark gap with the transformer, it really can allow a lot of energy to be available.
So in what way would you use that? And can you, or no, I've got one piece of tape left behind me, the roll behind me.
Yeah.
So how would you imagine harnessing the gap type of energy?
Well, I think it's really just going to require experimenting with it to see what can be done with it. I don't know if that could be used. It makes sense that it can be used to charge a battery. I'm guessing it would have to go into a capacitor, right? Because if you have these high voltage if you have high voltage, right, you have to store it, right? So I don't know if you want to go straight into the battery.
There was a time that, like, I remember hearing maybe 10 years ago that capacitor discharge batteries were going to be the big thing. Like, that was just like, oh yeah, they're going to be these bitchin' capacitor discharge batteries, and that's what everyone can use. And I know the logic makes sense because of how much energy they can emit at a time. I don't know what happened with that, because that may have been right at the time that people were using like the 18650 type lithium battery. But it is my understanding that capacitor discharge is like an amazing way to have a really fast, say, race car. Let's say you've got like an electric drag racer. Having just a bunch of capacitors if you look at the weight it would take compared to batteries, you'd probably have a way faster race car.
I see what you're saying.
But
And I'm thinking, the way I'm thinking about using the capacitor is a little different. It's not as the primary energy storage device. In fact, what I'm looking at right now is, I'm not looking at the capacitor as the ultimate energy storage device, but rather one of the questions I'm thinking about is, okay, let me see, I'm going to try to think about this, and I need your help to think about this, okay? Tell me if you can follow what I'm saying, Cameron. If atoms are very small power plants, right?
yeah.
I'm trying to think about how to think about this, okay? If atoms are very small power plants, what powers those power plants? Now, I'm not sure that's the question. I'm not sure that's the question that's going to help me with what I'm trying to say, okay?
Yeah.
But it was a thought, though. It's a thought.
Okay. What powers them? To me, I think that,
Well,
at least what I know is that
yeah.
the laws of physics power them.
Well, the
They're
laws
not
of...
sort of circular reasoning. Like
It is,
they're
you
powered
can't.
because they're powered.
Let's
guys.
not use circular reasoning in this. Let's not do that. Because, I mean, unless you think it'll help. But I don't think it does.
I think it's, for me, it's just a basis of where it come from, like how I've been told to understand it in a way.
How have you been told to understand it? It powers itself?
Just that these are the laws of physics and this is the atom. You know, even in kindergarten, they actually tell kids in kindergarten, like, this is the nucleus and these are the protons and electrons, and I've seen their art pictures drawing it.
But they don't tell you where the energy comes from to power it, though. They just tell you that's
they
what...
would just say that's the law. It's because Mom says.
Okay.
Don't question me, kid. Kind of.
Yeah, that is what it feels like. And then we have a lot of different words and a lot of different ways to understand, like you know, Tom Bearden talks about. Now listen to this. One of the things that Thomas Bearden talks about is that, if I understood him correctly, that I think what he was saying, if this is my interpretation, okay, is that all subatomic particles, which is what make up, right, if we say what make up the atoms, right?
Yeah.
I know there's more,
Yeah.
but there's...
Muons and whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that these charges are being maintained at a rate of, like, you know how our homes are powered by 60 cycles per second?
Yeah.
Well, matter, or atoms, are powered by 10 to the 120th times per second. That's 120 zeros behind, right?
So the fluctuation in their, it's like AC, DC sort of what we're talking about? The fluctuation?
I think Tom Bearden called it, what did he call it? Did he call it bidirectional, longitudinal sound wave pairs? Like they're,
wow. Okay.
if I recall correctly, bidirectional longitudinal sound wave pairs. In other words, it's being charged up by, but think about that. That's a big number, right? 10 to the 120th.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how to say that number. I've looked it up
10
before.
to the 100. I wouldn't know.
120
I could only
zeros.
say,
120 zeros.
I could say a billion or a quadrillion, a quintillion, about after a quintillion, I'm pretty well done.
There's a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
But so energy's flowing in and out, right? Expanding and contracting, right?
Yeah.
And that's just what it does.
I swear I need to go get my physics
Maybe we
degree.
could call it So if there's the laws of physics, which are just that's human laws, right? Human laws of physics, human perspective, right? Human perspective laws of physics. Then there's now some people say, oh, it's the laws of nature, but it's still humans interpreting nature.
It's our story. It's like the Bible. The Bible's great. The Bible's bad. It's good. It's bad. It's a bunch of stories to help you be moral. You know.
Yeah.
You could guide your life with it, and a lot of people do for good. A few people do not for as good. But we need to make these stories up. Like let's say you've got a toddler in front of you, and you want the toddler to have a good life. You don't tell the toddler, hey, that guy outside could be a terrible rapist. You tell the toddler, hey, when we go outside, we watch out for bears, you know, because we're good, happy hikers, or we're safe, you know. You show them these easily digestible scenarios of, it's fables, basically. A fable is a story that has a lesson of morality. And we live with those. We live through fables. Mm-hmm. You tell me stories about you and a girl, I tell you stories about me and a girl, and we're like, oh yeah, that's why stuff's fucked up, or whatever. Do you want to tape the BMS into place a little bit? Does that make sense first, or just sandwich it all in? Or do we maybe we tape these wires a little bit?
Is this in the shot here?
Good.
I don't know if I'm
call.
afraid.
Yes, we're in the shot.
Okay.
So yeah, that over it.
Yeah, we can tape over this. Is that the same tape?
Okay. It's supposed to be the right stuff.
Yeah.
How many inch do you want?
This.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna give you the end, and then we'll cut. I don't know if you want to use that end piece or what you're happy with.
Hang on.
Do you want me to trim this bit off, or just trim it?
I'll trim it after.
Okay.
I'm gonna come along the side too. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
I like that you got this tape too.
I just really wanted to be prepared with a couple things, and I knew my duct tape was gonna like drive me crazy. If it drives me crazy, it'd probably drive someone else crazy.
Oh, duct tape, yeah. I don't use duct tape. I don't like duct tape. If you brought it, I would ask if you could leave it in the car.
Yeah. Hey, this white stuff has convinced me never to use it again. That's for sure. One here, perhaps? Okay.
It's the stickiness of the duct tape, that's all.
Yeah,
like you said,
it's
if you're trying to hold a race,
like destructive as a material, it seems.
If you're trying to hold a race car together,
How
it might
far?
generate. Keep going. Right? If you're holding a bumper on or something.
Exactly.
The full length.
So more?
Yeah.
Like,
it's okay to go extra, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it has. I'm not saying it's not good tape. I'm just saying that for what we're doing, we wouldn't want to use duct tape on this. I don't think.
Yeah.
Because if we ever had to take it off, it would be super hard to get off.
And really, like, if I sold somebody this scooter and they open it up, that's Cameron and Carell who did that.
Yeah.
My reputation, like, I'm not rich. I only have who I am. So my fable is, would I do something that messed up? Another piece like this, or?
I don't know if we should cover this. I do want it to stay in place here, though. See, if we cover this, I don't want to put more insulation on it, because see how it's open on the sides?
Oh,
to breathe?
It'll probably just be held mechanically with this box then. I don't see where else it's going to go. Do you? Or do you want me to do like a double-sided tape, fold this over itself, just so it's sort of located in place? I could do, I'll show you my idea.
Yes. I need to, let me see.
You've also convinced me I need to get the headlamps. I've looked at them. I've tried to convince myself not to get them, but seeing how you used it today, I think that I have sold myself.
Yeah, it helps me to see. You know, because it just helps a lot.
Sometimes I don't want to get too many tools, but when it's the right tool, you just need it.
Okay. Yeah, this one is the, what does it say on it? Does it say anything on it?
Coast.
It's something
you've got
big.
Ginfy? The
No,
white one or
this
the
one,
other?
the top one.
That's a Coast, yeah.
And it's the, I think it's the 8, something 8. So that's the brightness, it has a separate battery.
Oh, okay. Coast is a really good brand. When I was working air conditioning for a friend, he's like, yeah, get the Coast flashlight, and it really is better than other ones.
Oh, okay.
I actually found a Coast flashlight up in the mountains, just like in the dirt. Someone probably left, at night and lost. And I've got.
Kelly,
Go ahead.
what tape do you want to use to close this up?
I think we'll probably just use this stuff.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good tape, right?
Okay. You want a full length?
Let me see.
Oh, so I found a Coast flashlight like in the forest that who knows how long it had been there. And I look at it, dust it off. It's my new flashlight.
Awesome.
Working fine.
Okay, on this one, this is making this stick out here. I guess that's how it goes. I'll probably make it fit tight in there, I guess. That's probably why it was such a tight fit. Okay. Yeah, so we'll close it up. Okay. Let's start out with, before we do that, let's just put a little, cut,
Okay, so
cut a
3
bunch
inch?
of little pieces.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could cut a bunch of those.
Sure.
And then we'll put a long one down side
Okay.
once we get that done. So just seeing how the battery is, when you see how easily the wires can get disconnected and stuff,
Yeah.
like that makes me, I mean, you don't want to hurt the scooter anyway, but I try to be careful on bumps and stuff.
Yeah, there was a time that I thought, like, I'm gonna beat this up because it's cheap with my N365 and just like see what breaks. But I don't really want to beat up a $2,000 scooter till it breaks. It already has been broken.
Yeah, if you take care of it, it'll last longer.
Yeah. Another.
Oh yeah, thanks. Are we in the shot still here?
Good question. We are in shot.
So, for kids, for young people that are growing up right now and they want to be a part of making the world, less pollution, less smog, cleaner technology, and let's say they're learning and discovering how to I'm trying to think of how to say this, I don't know if you call it harness, but maybe just simply plug into the nature's energy, right? Whether it be solar or when I say solar, I mean something that captures, I'm really talking about something that captures all the energy that's flowing through space all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just sunlight.
True.
There's a lot of energy flowing through space.
So how do we get kids excited about this, or what's
not how do we get them excited. I'm talking about kids that are already excited about it. That are seeking out how to be a part of the progression of discovery of how the universe works, how space works, how to have less pollution. What would you say to them?
Focus your studies. Right now, whatever age they are, they could be 5 or they could be 10 or 15. If someone is focused in what they want to do, then they can try to take a certain field of study. So, math track, science track, and as you know, they're going to be they're going to be taught to live within a certain box, and the kind of parameters that I know you kind of battle people on. So they'll have to keep their free thinking, kind of like social studies teachers always said. Question your source. Don't believe what you read in the news. You should read the news, but you should question everything. It's crazy that you should have to question some tenets of science that we taught, but
right.
But I guess you'd better if you really want to be that next level thinker. You want us to hold this?
Yeah, thank you.
What size tape are you gonna need next?
More of these.
Okay.
That's very positive what you said.
I know that for me, I was so devastated by the process of school. I hated it so much that I never saw it as a thing that would benefit me. So I'm
You mean
not
school or learning? You mean
going to school, going to private school or public school. It just always sucked. It just
Okay.
always was like the last thing I would think was going to benefit me because
tell me about
it was.
what was.
I'm just
what were
not
you
good at.
I don't have the greatest memory. I'm really good at doing stuff with my hands and doing things, but when it comes to sitting me in front of a page like this, do you notice we fixed this battery? And we did not read any words on this paper.
Look,
We didn't use this. And
Yeah.
that's where I live. I live here, not here. To me, this is school. This
Yeah.
paper is school. Process these words. It's all symbolic. You might not even know what the symbols mean on all those. So you can never really process them, but you're forced to. So,
school for it because you're going to be tested on it.
yeah, everything's,
Yeah.
you know, not everything when I was a kid was you're tested on this or that. That's more today's kids. But
Okay.
it just, you know, part of it goes back to my household wasn't happy when I was growing up, so it's not like anyone said, oh look, life's happy. If you go to school, then you can go get your own happy family. Like, that's not what I saw. So it was hard to imagine that school would get me anything other than, like, a bunch of rules.
Okay. But also, you did like naturally building things and making things.
I always did, you know. I was always in the yard just making something and building something and putting stuff together and digging a hole and figuring out a way to go from the tree to the garage roof without touching the ground and just like
That's awesome.
being a boy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is like the opposite of school. In school, they're like, sit in this chair. Oh, we're sorry it's too small and uncomfortable, and also you can't go to the bathroom. Like, are you kidding me?
You mean you're not allowed to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, you're supposed to sit and listen to someone talk about words and numbers, like,
Right.
instead of do what you want. I
I'll
don't
need a lot
know.
more.
Long
of these.
one? You want a long piece for this?
No, more, a lot more.
Okay.
A lot more.
So school, for me, the reason I am who I am as a teacher is that I didn't have a great school experience.
What ages do you teach?
I have wound up teaching mostly elementary school, though I've taught all ages.
All ages? All?
I've taught high school long term.
How's the framing on the field?
The framing's good. I've been the coordinator for the adapted PE clinic at Cal State Los Angeles, where I got to sort of be in charge of college age people who are pretty close to like kindergarten people. Anyone in between kindergarten and college is fine, but like in any case.
Yeah, I've gotten a grip. Mostly I ended up being called back to elementary school for long-term stuff.
Okay. So you were saying about your experience in learning when you were learning what?
Yeah, just that it was something I did not enjoy, and so the way I teach is really based on the idea that not every kid even wants to be there. Not that I don't assume someone doesn't want to be there,
Yeah.
but I have to assume not everyone's going to be Wonder Woman student thinking like school matters.
Okay, we're ready for big pieces now.
Long piece?
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and just cut them on this as we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we still on the shot, everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just cut it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your far hand was not in shot. Okay, now we're closer. Is
Okay.
backside is already taped?
Yeah. We can
This
still.
is good enough.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Looks like that side's all good. Because we didn't open this side, right?
Yeah. And this we're gonna tape to the other blue stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's getting there.
So I think it's ready to put the blue on and then tape the blue.
Okay. Are these equal? This looks like the bottom piece because of the damage there.
Oh, Let's see. So this is the way. This is the bottom right here. Okay. Right.
Okay.
That's right.
And
Because
really,
the wires are leaning that way. See. How
cool.
they're
Oh
going?
yeah, you're good.
And this goes this way. You think? Top.
Probably yeah.
That look right?
This 6 we can.
Oh wait a second. Does that look right?
Let me go back to one of my photos if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll open up a photo.
And also, you should be able to look inside there and tell if it has two. It looks like these were touching. Which side
Touching
they're
this.
touching.
Yeah.
There should be some kind of. It should be cleaner or something.
This is the bolt side, and I'm not seeing any evidence like that right now, but I will pop up a couple photos and it'll show us for sure.
Okay.
Oh, it's so good to have multiple cameras.
Yeah.
So on one side it's a blue, on the other side it's a red on the edge. Is the red side closest to the left side, or is the blue wire closest to the left side?
Well, I know this goes this way. I know this is the right way
Yeah.
for the battery.
Oh,
I just don't know the cover.
Okay.
The cover.
Watch. Let me. Watch. Blue is the far side. We have it correct. Yeah, we have it correct right now.
See, I'm trying to think of the spacers.
Even if I'm pretty darn sure, no matter what,
It's gonna work?
It's gonna work.
Oh, this
yeah.
has the same spacers. Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
gonna work.
Okay.
Even still, no, I'm with you. Get it how it started, but yeah, we're definitely good.
Alright. So, look at this. Well, let's start with small pieces.
Okay.
So here, we'll cut a bunch of small pieces out of this. Okay. Okay.
This tape is good. You slice it, and it doesn't just like tear open like cellophane. It really is a quality tape. And really, if this is looking good. I like it to not look.
But what you said was an interesting idea too, even though it's not what I originally was thinking of. When you said, you were asking me if I was saying, how would you inspire children to think about these things? So let's go with that, even though it's not what I originally meant. Because I was thinking more of people that were already interested, really, you know. You know, some people are just interested in certain things. But yeah, okay, so how would you inspire?
The reality is they have to be inspired by what they like and what they want to do. So if they say, I like electronics, then I say...
Or maybe the question is, how would you encourage?
How would you encourage?
Yeah. Encourage what
personally,
they're doing. That's
just
another way of saying it.
ask them questions. Do you know such and such, or do you know about such and such?
Yeah.
So, like, there's a kid...
Should I tape
who's-
over this
Yeah,
padding?
probably wouldn't hurt. There's a kid I'm thinking of who is now maybe in 4th grade. He went to kindergarten 2 times.
I need more tape.
Yeah, I knew the kid in elementary school, and I knew him
I'm gonna need a lot more of these.
when he repeated kindergarten. But the kid is kind of on the spectrum, so I don't know. He doesn't just do what other people, like teachers, say. He's
And
just thinking
on the
about what he
spectrum,
thinks about.
for people that don't know-
autism spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that a new way of saying it?
It is. It's
Okay.
like the most
I watched the documentary on it.
PC kind of way to say it, and non-insulting
Mhm.
and all that.
Yeah. But
so-
not everyone knows what it means, so that's why.
Yeah.
That's
So
why. I asked.
individuals who have Asperger's or autism are considered on the spectrum.
Okay.
And if they're on the spectrum, then they could be between there, and so it's you're not diagnosing, you're not giving someone a diagnosis saying they're on the spectrum. If you say that guy has autism, you're diagnosing someone, and you're kind of like, what right do you have to do that? Because I'm not a psychologist. I haven't done an assessment on them, but there's a kid who he would always be drawing these space drawings and obsessive kind of
I
drawings.
need your help.
With,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Sorry about that.
No problem. He would always be doing these drawings that reminded me of drawings I did as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Just like war drawings and tanks and missiles and repetitive things where I can tell that he's just got like a whole story in his brain about it, because he's not traveling with the art, he's traveling with the symbolic ideas of what he's making.
What's the difference?
If you're going with art, then you're going to progress in what you're making visually, and it's going to look better over time. And if I tell you, hey, look at how to do shading here, then you're going to do it, and you're going to add it to your art skills, and then you're going to be a better artist. There's a kid I would show a couple things to, and he doesn't pick them up, because that's not what he's thinking about. He doesn't care about how his art looks. He's making a symbology. He's making characters and stories that are in his brain, and even though he did kindergarten twice, the kid's probably going to be a director or an actor or a scientist, or he's really bright, but he just doesn't do what people say.
And you don't ridicule him for that.
Oh, hell no. I love the kid. I love kids like that. So I would just always talk to him about, like, hey, have you ever taken magnets and a battery and a wire and, made the homopolar motor? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's so freaking awesome, Mr. Corral. And I put it in my backpack so that when I go out to recess, the kid's going to be sitting by himself on the bench, because he doesn't really have friends. He's not normal. But I sit out there and have a great conversation with this kid, because we're both nerds. And, stimulate each other's brains and tell them something to be inspired by that's got to do with electronics or whatever.
When did you first realize you were a nerd?
I've always been a nerd. It's a better person. It's the best type of person. So, gosh.
I interrupted you, I'm sorry.
When I told him, about my job working with radioactive materials, he wanted to know all about it. I brought my training manual. I think he was 7 or 8
That's amazing.
Maybe now he's 10 or something.
Yeah. And he followed what you were saying.
Yeah, he wanted to know. I'd show him information that may be above his level, but what am I going to do? Dumb down a radiation manual to a kid that doesn't... Yeah, sure. Anyway, some people, they feed on that information they don't understand yet. Some people, it's kind of goes against the way you're supposed to teach them, but there's a kid I would give advanced stuff. Just talk to them about it, tell them stuff I know, listen to what they have to say.
Well, you sound like a great teacher.
Thank you. Part of it I realized is just the simple act that I never saw a lot of teachers do. Listening. Listening to a person talk. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's get some there. You want to do a whole piece?
Yeah.
Seriously, think how many times you would have been in a group with 30 people. The teacher's not there to listen. They don't have time. They have time to do the lesson or whatever. But if they were to listen to all the people, there's just no time for that.
Okay. But not all the people are have that need necessarily.
Oh no, they don't have a question or whatever. But when someone has a question or something to say, I'm the authority, I'm the teacher, wait till I'm done, listen to me, is only going to stifle any learning and creativity, even though it may be the normal method that 80% of the people may benefit from that method. But people like me, people I love, maybe not as much. So,
yeah. Let's put a piece down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really just giving them the time. During lesson time, if we're doing fractions, there's not really that much individual time, but there's a lot of time between lessons that I can get to know someone and really know them.
It's
here?
No, we can. Yeah, we can.
I don't know. Especially if someone's an isolated nerd, socially awkward or whatever. I feel like they deserve to have good social times, even though they're not good at it.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Sweet.
Unless you feel that you want to put any more on.
Let me just roll over it and look. This is already good.
We could close this corner up, I guess.
Okay. I never really got the full weight of that battery. It's nice and heavy.
It sure is.
Grab that. This long?
Yeah. So is that battery that person's selling for about 500? Does it look like it's? Does he even know how bad it's damaged? Does he know what's left of
There are
it?
photos of it. I can show it to you now or when we're done. I'm sure I have it on my watch page. You want to see it now or later?
Go ahead and pull it up, and I'm gonna just step away from it.
Yeah, it seemed really exciting to
see all the batteries and the value sitting there.
How many watt hours is it?
I don't know. I think he said it was like 100 battery cells.
Okay.
There's this little thing in here that reminds me of an F365, and it looks like the water infiltration thing, but I didn't see any water damage.
Oh, you mean a drain? Like a drain?
There's like a little tag that changes color if it gets wet, and they turn pink or red on the M365.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Battery can go in.
Want to move the camera?
Hmm?
Do you want to replace the camera? I'll hold it for you.
Okay, hold it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, having some trouble with the cord. There we go.
One day, the energy will flow wirelessly into the phone with no cord. Probably not that far away. Supposedly they're experimenting right now with it. I mean, we've already got wireless charging on my phone, but like wireless in this whole room. TVs on the wall that just are at the right amount of hertz that they can suck in those electrons or whatever you call it.
It's good.
Harness the power of the electrons.
Well, the atoms that make up that battery that you're holding and the atoms that make up everything. Well, that's something else I wanted to talk to you about. Was so if an atom is a power station, right?
You know what?
Could we also?
Should I have my angle grinder. Why not?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I could
We
take,
both put our heads
yeah,
together.
exactly. I could chop that and that. I don't. Does that one touch?
Well,
I
the
think
battery
maybe
drops
I-
below it.
Oh, it does? Oh, okay. If it's below, forget it.
It's
All right.
below it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah, see, what's the problem? I could just get the angle grinder to chop them off.
Oh, it's two actually, but it seems like it helps. It doesn't seem like it hurts it. And I
It's
think
got the padding.
Yeah.
I think the padding is probably designed
yeah,
for
and
whatever's
we got
going
better.
on.
We got better at putting this in there now.
Now what I want to try is to tuck all this good. Maybe we tuck this. Oh no, we get the charging cables first, and then tuck it good. And this insulation stays in the hole, which makes sense because the skinny wires got a lot of insulation. I'm thinking if we get this tucked in, the plate is going to want to mount nicely. These don't have any additional mechanical bolting, so those are set. And then this just
Is it okay if I do the heat shrink?
Totally, yeah. I took off the tape from this side of stuff, and I didn't do anything significant on the other side. So all these are cleaned, and these are just slipped over. So it's they may need to be trimmed to size, probably each one. I have this if you wanna. Either one. This works pretty good.
For cutting the heat shrink?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get this where it wants to be. Oh my god, you know what I'm gonna do right now? I have in the car an Apple AirTag. I'm gonna grab it, and I'm stick it right here.
What is that?
I'll show you. Oh, if you want one of these, they're gonna be all bad. Okay, so there's GPS, which if you get a GPS tracker for your vehicle, it costs a bunch of money. You got to pay a service. It doesn't work good. And then Apple came out with this Bluetooth-based tracking thing called the Apple AirTag. So far, I've put these in 3 scooters, but I sold 2 of the scooters. So I had to buy some more of these, which cost about $100 for 4.
That's good.
And they package it so you can't get it out. Okay, so this, for the viewers at home, Apple AirTag.
So it's a security system.
Bluetooth tracking.
Bluetooth tracking. 4 for 100?
That's like about $100. And
On
it
Amazon?
goes with, from Apple. So I go to this Find My network, where I've got like people I can track, which is great, but not. Devices, I've got my phone, my computer. This is items. So this is one AirTag I have in my Max 230 LP, which is there in my garage at home. So we're going to open that and pair an AirTag.
Can I put that up there?
Yeah.
That way. But actually, Cameron, I want to put these together with you
Yeah.
because I want to be extra careful.
Totally.
You know,
Totally. So look how small they are. Cam number 5.
They come with 2?
It comes with 4 in here.
Oh, wow.
I've got 4 new ones, and so I just need to pop out this thing. The battery's gonna start activating.
How long does the battery last?
It lasts for a full year, and Apple is gonna really be you can trust Apple for it. Name AirTag. This is gonna be called just called Bike for now.
Wow. And you can put that on tools.
I'm gonna put it in my toolbox in my car. I'll put the stuff everywhere because you know people rip stuff off.
You can put it on your car too.
So Cameron's bike.
Right? You can put it in your car.
Yeah, I have one in my car with my girlfriend drive. You know, I have insurance, but I mean, I'd rather be able to track it if I get to a car. So this cute guy. I'm sorry it's delayed with so many things. Okay. AirTag from the Dueltron Raptor 2 there.
Why do you make a video of it?
Just because I'm going to have a video compilation of putting AirTags in different scooters eventually.
Okay.
So, I think it's just going to bounce around there.
Do you want to wrap it in some foam?
Yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll get some of that tape and I'll just kind of backwards wrap it so it's just more sticky.
Look at
That
this.
makes sense. Yeah, just like that.
Look at
Okay.
this foam.
see what you mean. It seems pretty tight, so I think I'm just gonna make this be.
But let me show you what I was thinking.
Okay.
Right here. Is it the slip up in the middle? What do you think?
Part of it is that if it's behind insulation, you can't hear it. So
Oh,
if someone has it, I can signal it to beep. And so if I had it in here, it'd be worse. I have it under this plastic thing so that I can hear the sound travel. So I think I'm just gonna go for this for my testing with other.
do you want to put this one there so it doesn't bounce it on one side?
I think I'm good with it just like that.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now these have to line up. I'm getting to the point that there's like,
Where's that? Is that
oh, the insulation there.
there?
Okay, that's there.
How do the wires are working?
I think we're getting, yeah, it's pretty close to it.
So it's kind of like what you were saying is, it's kind of like when you say to set your mind so that you can accomplish anything. It's kind of like saying that for a child, when you're teaching children, you're kind of helping them focus maybe, and something they're interested in, like science-wise.
Yeah, I think one of the things teachers really like is a student who is excited about learning, and not every student is. Some students are just like traumatized, like I kind of was. Just what the hell am I not doing at home where I prefer to be? But there are people who really want to know a lot, and they know what they want to know about, and those people love working with them. You know, my brother was like that. My girlfriend's a person like that who teachers love. She's like super smart. But it's just a matter of knowing what they like to know about and directing them to it. So in a way, it's like giving someone a syllabus, kind of. Try to learn about this, read about this. For me, it's like imagine this experimental scenario of putting wires next to batteries. Something's not happening. Yeah, if you want to try it. Set a hand. Maybe my wire needs to go on the other.
Oh, I see. Okay. See if that. Can you grab that flashlight over? Oh, it's in front of the screw, on the side of the front.
Up and
No,
right
no.
enough.
Go to the front wheel. And look over again. Yeah.
This thing?
Yeah.
Got it.
Sorry. My light's not the right angle.
Sure.
Let's see how close. Oh, I see what's happening.
You want to take that other screw out? This
Is there a
one
screw in?
is,
Oh my
this,
gosh, yeah.
This one, I know, this one's just barely in.
Okay, let's take it out,
stick the
yeah.
screw right there. Yeah, and then I'll have it. It's just barely threaded.
I was like, what did I need to make something?
Yeah.
But it's just
I guess
not
that-
reaching. It isn't reaching.
I think part of the nature of school is like, it's not an individual-based learning program. It's this is the curriculum the state says. So it's gonna be
Yeah, this one.
it's gonna be like cookie cutter, where what you as an individual are gonna do best at is really not gonna be the focus of how many years kindergarten plus 12 years. So the first 13 years after you're 4 or 5 years old are gonna be about something that's not about you. So the closer you can get someone to
Can we go for it?
yeah, the closer you can get someone to
Oh, I think it went. I think it went in.
sure. There should be another. There's another one.
That's not it. Right here? That isn't it. No? What's this one black one that's here? Oh, it's two black ones.
That's the weird, the wrong deck one. This won't be a ruining problem, but I think one of the screws must be on the floors.
Okay.
Unless it's just tucked in there. No. Somewhere there's going to be a screw, turns out it's fine.
There's a place called Electric Specialties, I think it's called. In South Korea. They carry a lot of this. Is this electric?
Yeah.
Okay.
This
Is that the screw right there?
weird.
Is that it?
I just don't know why I'm not. Is this just like the wrong wrench?
Oh wait, what's going on here? Oh, there's two.
Is there two screws? I think there's two screws. Okay, that's what happened. Bam. Come on. Okay.
That's so funny.
I guess that's why you've got like one assembly line worker per spot at the factory. And they're like, no, I am the only guy who installs the such and such widget.
So that they can't make this kind of mistakes.
Okay, so a kid needs to get into additional learning that's based on what they need to learn. Like a kid might be into dance or something, you know, I'm not. The kid who's really into that is going to benefit and they can take additional classes. They have to keep up with their normal schoolwork to be a normal person. But in reality, they need to go do their additional work at their passion, you know. They need to spend time becoming scholar in that.
How are kids taught emotional intelligence?
Some teachers are really good at it. They do in-services. They'll have things where they, before a kid even comes to the classroom, Mrs. Holes used to have them tell her a number. Like, I'm feeling like a 1 because I got up late and my dad was mad. Or someone's like, I'm feeling 10 today. I'm excited about whatever. And so even before they're in her classroom, she knows what's going on with them. So I've seen people do like sit in a circle, everyone shares. And these can all slide off as well. They're all, you know.
So this is B?
Okay,
let's
one's a
do
B?
Yeah. Where's the scissors? Oh, they're back here. Okay, so here's
B and B. I'm going to clean this entirely. So yeah, emotional intelligence, it just depends on getting a good teacher, which there are old school teachers that you probably know who are emotionally intelligent.
themselves.
Quite the opposite, you know. It takes someone really caring. And luckily I work in South Pass where that's the general rule, but there's no teacher's going to stay there who doesn't care. It's just not use.
Okay. That's
Okay, so you got the heat shrink. Is the heat shrink the right length? And it's
No.
on one side of it?
it was pretty sure. I'm looking right now to see I want it there. But I want it to overhang just a little bit on the side. So tell me what you like. Because I'm going to do, I tend to go like right here.
Yeah, I did like ½ inch on either side, sort of.
Like right there?
Yeah, where your thumb is, that's cool. So here.
And how would you describe what you understand emotional intelligence to be?
It's just being connected with what you are personally experiencing that's going to affect you in what some people might describe as subconscious ways or unconscious ways, where you're going to slip up in a way you didn't predict. So if you're aware that you were rushing late, you got in an argument with someone, and that's why you're a little panicked during the test.
You know, emotionally intelligent would say, hey teacher, I'm having a tough morning. Can I take the test like tomorrow? Can I take it after lunch? You know, can I?
So it sounds like you're saying emotional intelligence is being able to create, or at least co-create or introduce your inner life to the outer environment and see if you can, really it's taking care of yourself.
Boundaries. Yeah, it's making boundaries even to the authority.
It's making boundaries to the authority. I like
Yeah,
that.
boundaries with
That
the
makes
authority.
sense. That
Which,
makes sense.
just imagine
Are
doing
you
that.
okay with me using the language?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting to talk about it because I've been around all this and I've thought about it and I thought, you know, I'm glad that Mrs. Holtz did that and I learned from that and everything. But I never really thought about that is helping someone create boundaries. And what that does, that creates trust, that creates peace. All good things.
Right. And it helps us be in the world together, right?
Yeah, kids need to be around other kids. Unfortunately, there are some psycho kids and bad parenting. So, you know, if you're around a kid whose parents did a lot of cocaine when they were in the womb, then it could be that your kid's around another kid who might punch them. Not because they want to, but because their impulse control was never allowed to develop.
Their impulse control.
Impulse control, yeah. There are kids who are very impulsive whose parents, all there are people whose parents did drugs.
And so those children tend to have impulse control.
They can be psychotic and murderous and assault and end up in the prison system.
Just because of the parents. Just because
You
of the
know,
parenting.
I've heard some evidence that may have been blown up by the media somewhat, the reality of drug babies and whatnot. In the 80s, I don't know if you remember, it was like, oh no, the drug babies. Right?
Yeah.
It may be that part of that was a lie. Part of that was just a demonized non-white culture.
Okay.
So I don't want to necessarily just
I totally understand what you're saying.
reinforce bullshit if
Yeah,
it's not
right.
real.
But I want to know
don't
what you think. I want to know what you think. What you think.
I've seen parents who are actively not living their best life and seen their kid affected by it. You know? I've seen parents who
We need a D.
a D. Okay, so D in that end, and
Is that D? That's
then D. Yeah, D. Okay, so the length of this guy
It'll be a little
probably half. Or no, it needs to go down to this cut, so
Oh,
it's going to be pretty long.
This one could be long.
I have worked with a kid or two, not a lot, who something was going on at home with their parents. Their parent was a drug addict or recently recovering from using crack and on the lung machine and
What you gonna do?
forever from this. So yeah, I've seen it directly, but maybe it's more media that like, oh, the parents are bad. I've seen a lot of good parents. I've seen a lot of parents who care. I've seen a lot of parents who won't come and spend their time when they're taking off work to be in the classroom. So
You mean even if they have trouble with like drug problems and stuff? Is that what you're saying?
no. I'm just saying, all in all, I've just seen a lot of good
Oh, a
parents.
lot of good
I'm not
parents.
going to say there are a lot of bad parents out there, but that's not what I've
Yeah.
observed to exist. Although I've seen some shady situations, and teachers are like, yeah, we're aware of it. The office knows, we know something's wrong. But in the end, if you had someone to work with who had issues, like you can't solve their issues for them. This issues may never be solved. I mean, some people are just born thinking a lot, they want to process a lot of information. Squeeze that so it gets small.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But there's a place for everyone to work.
Watch for the thing.
All yank if it hurts.
Hmm?
All yank the fingers if it hurts.
Okay. Burn yourself. So it wants to flame. It's probably why the heat gun is doing it.
Yeah, sort of. Okay, maybe not.
I do have the heat. I never use it to show picture.
Yeah, I usually use a lighter and stuff.
It's funny, I bought the lighters just for this. I'm just so used to using the whole using
I'm trying to think what I use in each kind of part. I've used to strip paint, soften tires. It helps definitely put an M365 tires on. If you soften them up, it's like night and day difference.
We need a C? Not a C?
Let's see.
See, I'm gonna remove it from here just so that spacing works out. Let's see better.
This one? Oh, this is the one that the raised.
Cool.
But it looks like the wire hit the damage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if we slip it over that, then that's smart.
Now let's see if it's playing the wire.
That's totally fine.
Let's see what it is.
When you were in school, did you, what did you think of it? Did you mind being there? I know you said you were in sports. Did you, were strong with football and stuff?
I was, it wasn't my choice. But, I loved learning. I didn't have teachers that understood me.
Yeah.
I understood that, luckily. I didn't turn against them. I just knew the teachers would understand. But I did once in a while have a good teacher. I mean, what I mean is, one that understood.
Yeah.
That I did enjoy learning. I just was having, because we all learn this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of questions. And the questions, it was hard for me to focus on just the questions they wanted me to ask.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I mean, I did my best, but I did my best. I did my best. That's all I did my best. This isn't any analysis that I didn't want. It's just what I thought.
Well, my first 2 years, I went to a school called Chandler in Pasadena, which is a private school where they assume every kid is well-behaved and going to listen and do what they say. Worked for my brother, he was just better at listening and so I went there and it wasn't the best situation. I wound up going to a school called Walden School, where the learning was based on a contract. And so, have you heard of the term Montessori?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like a school that's a non-public school. Yeah, AMA. It's a school that's a private school, and philosophy is not that the state has a curriculum and you kid shall learn this now. It's the idea that a kid has a self, and the self matters, and what the kid wants to learn about matters.
Wow.
And we all wound up with a contract of what we were going to learn. Like, I will learn.
This doesn't fit.
This.
It doesn't fit over this. It's a smaller piece. It fits on that side. I'm
Gotcha.
sure. That sounds really interesting.
So we had these things. It was a contract, and did you have something called SRA? It was just this thing where you would read passages and answer questions about it, and like reading comprehension.
Okay.
It may take both of those pieces, like, do we have to cut more insulation off the lung? Put the black stuff off for this to fit over? Because that one's probably not going to shrink down enough. That thick stuff.
Let's see. So, well, this just fits over that.
But does it fit over that? Yeah, I think we should trim that insulation. Where's, here, I think I get rid of this. Which thing is it? It's this? Okay, so back to contract. The contract was, I'll do some SRA, I'll do some math, I'll do some art, whatever. And you got to choose what you did at the time. You didn't have to, there would be some lessons and stuff, but it was almost like an independent study contract where you said you were going to work, but you just weren't going to
wait for a teacher to tell you what to do next. You were going to do something when you were done with the last thing that you chose to do. But you're doing learning stuff. But we had like art on Friday, which to me was great because I'm creative.
What did I do?
Staying in sculpture, painting, drawing. To this day, I draw with ink pens. Can draw pretty decent.
Let's see if this fits in there. This
Yeah, I'm probably sorry. So that was better for me, but it's not. It doesn't necessarily make a student who's gonna be as prepared to just do the regular school style, which is kids sit there. It's not about you. Do what I say. So anyway, that lasted until I was in like 5th grade. We moved to Arcadia, so I went to public again. And it was just more of a listening to what I say stuff.
What was that like to switch over to that?
I was disappointed because the private school I had skipped a grade, and so like that was a self-esteem boost. But they're like, no, we go according to your age.
Oh, wow.
So they're like, no, you're back in 5th grade. Kid. Which to me, I'm like, wait, what? What?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so that I think I just focused on that to the point that I was like, what? And just a little shell shock. My parents were getting divorced, so I was just kind of like, I don't know.
There was a lot of emotion.
A lot going on, and you know, other kids at school weren't like, oh, let me know what's going on with you and help you. It was more like, let's be competitive and screw with you. So just be a normal kid, but I think I just needed a little more sensitivity or something.
Emotional intelligence.
Oh yeah, no
From
matter.
the environment. From your environment.
People were emotionally abusive. Like, I remember learning basketball. They were like, yep, today you're learning basketball. Some kid who's like the best basketball player. He has skills. He's good at basketball. He's always played it. It's like, hey, Corell, if you block me, I'll kick your ass. That's my introduction to the first day of playing basketball. The kid who's the best at basketball, who already knows how to play the game, is the ruling through intimidation. And I'm like, no, fuck you guys.
How old are you then, roughly?
11 or 12.
Okay, so on this one, I'm glad that we did that. How's that bunch look right there?
Yeah.
We'll take it better off this field road, so it's there. Oh, this one got stuck in the soft. That doesn't look
Here,
very well.
you want to chop on it?
Let me see what this is. Hold up here. There it goes.
Did I tell you that I bought another Wolf Warrior? I have the 72-volt Wolf Warrior.
You have the same one you had before?
No, the one I had before was a 60 volt. This was like the fastest scooter that you could buy. You know, maybe 2 could beat it at anything in the world. Gosh, my maturity in my adulthood is just like, I don't want to ride it. I don't want to ride it. I'm not doing it. I rode it down my driveway. I didn't take it for a ride. It just burns out the front tire all the time. It's too fast. It just
You can't go slower?
it has a square wave controller, so the throttle is just like
It's on low?
it's just burnout central.
Is that what square wave is? It's one
Yeah,
off?
sine wave is the new cool one where it ramps into the power. Square wave is just boop,
On and off switch.
throttle, not throttle. So yeah, but I sold it, make $300.
That makes me wonder what the thing on that floor is.
What's the voltage and stuff on it?
It's 48 millivolts. It does take off very smoothly though.
Huh.
But I don't know, I don't know if that's just programming.
Does it have P settings like that you can access and change a bunch of?
It has a eco mode and a performance mode, and there's a significant difference in it. It can be programmed to.
I'll show you this. I'm pretty ADD. I'm gonna show you something on offer up picture.
It is neat that I got the Mercane 1 Pro when you told me about that one for a real low price.
$100, right?
Yeah, because wasn't really thinking about getting one.
So awesome.
I mean, I liked it, but yeah, that was really pretty amazing actually. So thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's awesome.
Oh, I'm really happy with it.
So look at this. This is like I don't know if the tire's a 12-inch, 13-inch. It's like an 800 watt lithium battery, maybe 50 to 70 pound little motorcycle. I watch YouTube videos of these, and if you've ever seen trials bikes, you know what a trials bike is? Where people like jump it and all that stuff?
Yeah, real slow. I do real slow.
They go slow, but they like hop on rocks.
Absolutely.
This thing, it's tiny. It's like tiny. I don't know why I'm excited about some little thing like this that's supposed to go, I think, 30 miles an hour. It says it's similar to a Honda CR-80. This one says max speed of 25. He's got another one that's max speed of 30. And I don't have any room in my garage. If I was to sell something, it just seems like it'd be fun to cruise around a little electric thing, but
Well, you want arrange the wiring according to
yeah,
how you like it.
sure.
This one looks like it should come off too, right? This one?
Yeah.
You know, if I get this one?
Yeah, this is the part that makes me cringe on every scooter. Is like, I really have to smash the wires? I guess it's on every scooter.
Or you just have to kind of tap it in there, you know? I'm sorry. That probe goes on both sides.
Look how tiny those wires are, dude. That's scary. What are those? Yeah.
So you say that probe goes on the wires.
I think it'll just kind of sit on these.
Where's the plate?
Plate is here. I need to get these back, this stuff in place. Oh, and I need to get the gasket taped in. That's
Okay.
Okay, this thing pops.
Alongside.
We have these guys.
Is it left to right, one to the other?
There should be. It doesn't matter. Yeah, they're just one everywhere. I just got like obsessive with putting numbers just in case. I just wanted to make sure I did the right way. Okay, this thing is probably symmetrical.
Should we probably use like an adhesive, and,
That's
you know,
true.
just to drop, you know what I mean?
That's true.
I mean, in the future, that's it.
Sure. I think that I do need to buy a little something to, maybe if this is thin enough, I think it won't hurt me.
Oh, that's really good. Someone might make a better gasket for this too.
Yeah.
I mean, a thicker, like more of a thicker one.
I have a bunch of gaskets like that for the M365 battery cover. I thought I was buying battery covers, but they were selling me the gaskets. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Because they probably showed a battery cover, right?
Yep, it showed a battery cover. It's what I needed, and I'm like, thank you very much. Oh my god. That is ugly, but that's my ugly.
So it's ready.
Are all the ones lined up enough? Okay, yeah, here, let me just add one too.
Yeah, I like the seals where it's like a thin, round one that just fits into a slot. Like this.
Yeah, like an O-ring and head, like
Yeah.
copper O-ring on the race motors.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and then you can't make a mistake because it only goes where it's supposed to go. I love stuff where you just like it's foolproof. Favorite kind of design. Looking good. All right, I think we're there.
Close it up. They have the hours.
Please do. If I remember correctly, the two black ones are in the very back.
What's happening with the holes and fittings?
I think they got moved, so I say pop it off. Oh no, you're
Well, I was
close.
just
Oh yeah,
off. I was-
line up.
I just want to line that.
Here. We can use the drill, or maybe one of these wrenches work.
Just to get it started, at least back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe that. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Start.
Black ones are like American.
Oh, did you know there's a bike path? I think it's called the Ozone bike path. It's like 25 miles.
From where to where?
Well, it starts right here in Woodland. And there's a couple mile break where you have to just go down the road, but then it starts up again.
So they might go to the beach.
It goes actually west. So it goes to
okay.
tracks right there. But it's a big path. It's a long one. And people have told me about it for a long time.
You know what, yeah, I've seen something when I've been going, I can't even think what city it was, but yeah, I have seen some really wide throughway with, part of it has like busing goes near it.
That's it. That's it. That's
Yeah.
They put it right next to the place.
How many miles range are you doing on your scooter?
Well, let's put it this way. Last night, we went to Hollywood, went everywhere, all over. I mean, I don't know how many miles. It was still on full right now. And I still had however many bars it has, and still, it went down like 2 volts.
You are Mr. Free Energy. Just like all energy.
No,
that.
yeah.
Wow, that's great.
But I do want to go to the beach. I do want to.
There's this e-skate group, but they're all like, you need a 30-mile-an-hour scooter, 25-mile minimum, and if I have that, I'm selling it. I don't want to
It was 20. Oh, really? There's a group again?
Yeah, they're out of Long Beach all the time. They do this thing called Intro to Speed, where they go somewhere like in a wash, in Van Nuys, I think it is, and they just like make up a track with cones. And I thought maybe I
they're
could go to-
racing? Are they racing?
I think they're just, kind of like autocross, where you go through cones and just like try to handle semi-quick.
I just like cruising the gun club.
Yeah. So I, partly nervous about just like, what if someone jacked my scooter, what is doing stuff, or whatever. I haven't gotten to do it, so I end up working with stuff all the way. Right. This is this.
Let's see, can I still sneak out of this stuff? Let's do that. I think I'll just not roll so much.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, try to make it look not gross, but almost succeeded.
It could just be this one, this two. Maybe this one.
Oh yeah, I could just, I'll,
Oh, you type.
Right,
I
I'll
was
use
like, why am I typing so much?
if I
I
do
thought I
those
did
two,
that.
then I can, come on. Oh, I already took it in my field to get it. You know, it's gonna drive me crazy if we pull it.
Do you want to just trim it with this? Like with a downward angle?
Yeah, can you swipe on it?
With this?
Sure. Pretty darn close. Okay, now I ratchet those things.
So is it logical and rational to you that if someone has achieved the replication of something or the discovery of something in terms of energy and gravity, right?
Okay.
That can contribute to reducing smog and improving the environment, right?
Yeah.
Improving the recovery and healing of the environment, if I say it that way. Because it kind of heals itself if we stop
It does.
damaging,
Yeah.
right? Because we inflict damage on and ourselves. Is it logical or rational that a person doesn't have to show their diagrams and drawings of their particular design, but rather shares the philosophy and the theory of that is the foundation of this new discovery? That way people can at least understand something in a new way.
Do I think it's the best, or do you think it's okay, or what's our
If the
standard?
goal is to move towards a healthier environment,
Okay.
is it logical and rational to you that the theory of the discovery being shared, like with YouTube videos, for example, right?
Yeah.
Videos to the public, speaking to an audience not familiar with the technical language, just simple words of the basic idea, right?
Oh yeah.
Does that seem essential to you?
If you're, let's say, you're a PhD scientist, or you haven't graduated high school, but you've been doing it for 20 years,
Yeah.
and you're the same as a PhD scientist, and if you're speaking to a group of 6th graders who only learn fractions or something, you better not share your algebra at length to prove to them you're right, because it's not comprehensible input. I was talking about that kid Adrian, who's like was 8 and I would share science stuff, but that kid's different. That kid's on the spectrum, and it's a different mentality there. But
Okay.
yeah, in education, part of what you learn is the zone of proximal development. You learn that you're supposed to teach someone the very next thing that they're able to know based on what they already know, which that doesn't logically entirely make sense. Like, you're going to learn a new thing that you never knew about before. To say zone of proximal development,
Zone of proximal development.
the ZPD, the zone of proximal development, is just like, all right, you just learned multiplying 2 numbers by 2 numbers. Now I'm going to teach you multiplying 3 numbers by 2 numbers. That's ZPD.
Okay.
But that really does leave a giant hole, which is learning a uniquely new concept.
Yes.
So if we only do that, then we are failing. As educators.
If we only do ZPD.
If we only do ZPD, then you're really doing SAME. It's
So-
all sort of sameness.
So maybe the challenge, one of the challenges for the I'll say maybe the explorer, someone that's exploring, discovered, right, and wants to share what they learned, is to translate maybe this kind of new concept in a way, a new perspective, a new way of looking at something, and to translate it into simple words and simple concepts that can give someone the leap into a whole new way of seeing something that they've known their whole life but never seen it from this perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge is on the explorer, the person exploring these things. Even though they made a discovery, that's maybe only half the work.
Mm-hmm.
The other half is to teach or enlighten people that are not necessarily physicists, like trained physicists, but are interested in understanding the world we're living in and how to be a part of the improvement of and the shift to cleaner technologies, maybe, if you think of it that way.
I think it's fair and appropriate. I'm gonna move these bars forward out because it always bother me. But I don't think you have to share everything that you have. I think it's very uncommon to share everything you have, even though if all you wanted was all the humans to think the most thoughts as they could and have all the new ideas, then you just share everything. But like I said, zone of proximal development, a lot of people aren't going to benefit from that. So it's kind of like standing on your soapbox, like who's going to come by and listen? People will listen. It's not moving as fast as I thought. I think it's good to be excited about what you do, and if you just share it in life, you talk to people, they're like, what are you into? Oh, I'm into the fixing electronic stuff.
Okay, let me
That's
try
cool.
saying it in a different way. I appreciate what you said.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. But let me say it in a different way. What gives a new understanding of a discovery that someone's made, right? What do you think as an educator? I mean, as someone that, has experienced thinking for a long time about how we learn, right?
Okay.
What do you think would give, if we say it this way, that technology, I'm just going to call it technology, okay?
Okay.
If you have a better word, tell me.
Uh-huh.
What would give that technology the best chance of actually coming out? Because someone could discover something great,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean it's going to come out. It might just be researched endlessly, like researched and researched and researched. You know what I mean? Or really just keep researching. And it's proven to work. We know it works, but it doesn't move into the place of public availability or public replication.
I think it has to be profitable in our society. I keep going back to capitalism and profit, which there are people who are like, capitalism's the best, profit's awesome, but it also makes people secretive and just not share their stuff. They want to save the profit for themselves. I don't understand this. Is this like an all one piece thing on the top, or is it jammed into it, I wonder? See how normally they would just go forward?
Just take it over.
Oh, there it is. It finally unhooked. Okay, cool. All right. Now about straight up and down. Cool. It's just so hard to get authentic sharing and learning when profit is so important. So like what I was talking about with the guys who work for 3M or a big company, if they have access to the top level technology, the top level tools, the top level PhDs and other people, they're not going to be able to share what they work on with you because it's going to be top secret for their company's profit,
So I'm talking
So
about
it's kind of like
more of the general public.
Okay.
So if the general public kind of garage experimenter, discovers anti-gravity, let's say, by accident.
Yeah.
Just like putting different fields and charges together, and suddenly they get levitation, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to tell anyone because I'm going to make so much money off this. But they might make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's going to come out.
it doesn't necessarily
It doesn't
come out.
mean that.
Yeah.
And what I'm wondering is, if they shared not how to do what they did, maybe, but just the kind of the thinking of what they think is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it takes a receptive audience and people who have an open mind. So it kind of is going to start with a young age. Like, are you taught to have an open mind? Are you taught to only believe that your teacher is right? Are you taught to scoff at people who say, but teacher, what about this? You know, you said, teacher, what about this? And as you know, you only had a couple teachers who understood you. I was in the same boat. I didn't have a teacher who I thought noticed me. Gosh, I don't know. When I went to Walden School, it was about the kids. So yeah, teacher noticed you. They knew your name. In other schools, God, it was like 6 years before a teacher noticed me. I could go 5-6 years straight without a teacher ever noticing I even exist. So that's just stifling to everything.
So
You
do
know?
you think an experimenter could educate a public about something they've discovered?
Absolutely. You and I do it on YouTube, at least in our own ways, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm an experimenter. I'm a tinkerer. If I had something that was more unique and experimental, I'd still do it on YouTube.
Why would you do it? Obviously, I just wonder. Why?
Because I'm the opposite. I feed on being the opposite of like selfish society. I just feed on being generous and like wanting to share and wanting to be stimulated and stimulate, even if it's not for profit or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's just for all of it, you know?
So you like sharing knowledge and you like learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I mean, I feel that way. I relate that way to what I learn. What I learn, it comes from people like you. I mean, people that like to learn and share. It may not be exactly what you do, but you like learning and sharing. And the stuff that you think about are interesting. You know, can I power 2 motors with 1 controller, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that was like for sure a thing that I had to go through. I had to research. I researched that a lot, and I remember right now the people in the videos who are like me or you, who made me know that. You know, I know that because
So
there was
that was
someone
given
just
to
like
you.
me,
That
or
was-
just like you, and they did it
Yeah.
on YouTube, and they did it with a quality that wasn't the greatest quality. It doesn't take the greatest quality.
But they got you started.
There's enough. There's definitely enough. Do you want to ride this?
Yeah. You want to go? You want to go on a ride?
Yeah.
We're close to a path here.
Awesome. I think I'm gonna have to crank this folding mechanism a little bit, but I guess once we're outside, I'll just crank on it.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the stream.
Yeah. How long did our stream go for?
Let's see. It looks like it's by minutes. It says 213 or 214 minutes.
It's better than watching Terminator 2. Is your bathroom one of these over here?
Yeah, to the right. Right.
Right.
Okay, so the scooter is fixed. It was a wire coming from the battery management system that was not connected anymore, and it was like a bad connection. So sometimes it would connect, sometimes it wouldn't, and the scooter was not able to be ridden. It would turn on. The wheels would turn if it was in the air, but it couldn't move. It wouldn't move. You couldn't ride it. Okay, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.